Woo!
Amazing.
Yes, nice. Welcome everybody to the first inaugural episode of Halo Time. I am Tito Bread, and these are the other members of Halo Time, and we'll more than likely have a cycling cast of hosts for you to feast your eyes upon and listen to as we continue with this wonderful show about our culture. And so I guess I was nominated to talk about the show and give you guys a slight introduction to what we're doing here on YouTube and here on the ELPN. And so, Halo Time is a really fun idea that this group of Filipinos, brown people you see in front of you, to talk about Lego lovers, but Lego lovers who clearly found another smaller niche within the Lego community, and that is being Filipino. And just a fair warning for those of you guys who are not Filipino, you are of course very, very, very welcome here to experience and learn about and talk about and I guess explain the similarities and differences between your culture and ours. And that is essentially what we're doing. We're bridging the gap between each other as Filipinos within the Lego brick building community, all the different experiences that we've had experiencing our culture of being Filipino, Filipino American, Filipino Canadian, and as well as talking about the similarities that you guys have, it being maybe even children to immigrant parents or integrating your own culture into the culture you are living in, and sharing our foods and our culture, our dress, our dance, and everything with you guys. As most people not Filipino typically say, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this. The rest of you guys have heard that most non-Filipino people, if they've got one thing to say about the Filipinos, other than the fact that we're excellent singers in karaoke, is that
Most of us here.
Most of us. Hey, you have a better voice than you think, Amor. Okay, we're gonna let the people hear it.
If you go to the Tito Pred Twitch live streams, he might throw some suggestions.
I'm going to serenade you.
If you have a name for Amor, that's a singing voice.
There it is. But most people will say that the Filipinos are some of the most hospitable people that they've ever come across, and that
Very
is
friendly.
what we are bringing to you, and the part of our culture that we are trying to bring to you here on Halo Time. So come all to experience our culture with us.
I'm so glad that we elected Fred to do that intro, because if it was me, I would have talked for like 2 seconds. I would have been like, "Hi, welcome to the show."
Is that how you host?
Hello. Yeah. With 2 hands up. I come in peace.
Like a speech winner or something.
We're bringing some professionalism to the ELPN network.
Oh,
Yeah, seriously, it's
A
much
whole new
needed.
level.
Jillian brought some professionalism for sure with her show, but like Two Figs One Set really just drags down the professionalism.
I had to dig deep for that one, okay, and really
That was good.
Really digging deep was our pre-conversation. I mean, like, listen, tell me what to say. I didn't want to say, tell me what to say before the show. I kind of presented it in a gift, like, what do you guys
slowly
think? What do you guys think?
Explain it to me like I'm 5.
Yeah.
Right.
So the name of our podcast or show is Halo Time. And if you guys don't know what Halo is, this is it right here.
So it's one of the Philippines'
Froths.
most delectable
Yummy.
desserts. And ours is kind of a bit melted. It is a frozen dessert, crushed ice milk, and all the ingredients include
What's the purple stuff?
ube ice cream. Ube is what our roots. And it usually has different kinds of beans and fruits and leche plan, which is the custard that sits on top. And as we were already doing our brainstorming earlier, I thought I would give it a sample, and I made it to about half in. And in addition to halo halo being, of course, a most favorite dessert, halo halo also means mix, or halo means mix. So when you say halo halo mix, we're hoping that this stream also is it curates to a mix of ideas, a mixture of viewpoints, a mix of just creative juices flowing out of all of us, right? And of course, a mix of all the different interests and identities we have as again, we're trying to find also our own sort of path.
Yep.
Nice. GG's.
Love that.
I'm really jealous, honestly. The more
It
you
looks
You gotta give it a rating. You gotta get out of 10. What are you rating this specific halo halo that you're having?
So this one is from Seafood City. I don't know if you guys also have that grocery store near you. It's a Filipino grocery store.
It's in
Yeah.
California.
I think so.
It started in California, I think, area,
okay.
I think. And it's actually Chinese owned, but
Okay.
Filipino Chinese. And it just opened here in Canada maybe 7 years ago. Nick's getting freaked out because I'm dripping all over
I know,
the
all over the
pool
pool table.
I never am allowed to eat when it's
I'm not
full
a
of bread.
Filipino dad.
But this one, I would give it an 8.5. Like, it's good. It's a
8.5. Okay.
Solid.
Actually
It's
quite
real
big.
good.
And last season, they actually had different flavors of halo
Okay.
halo. So you could actually choose like caramel ice cream. Like, they had a whole smorgasbord of like 4 different kinds. They kind of gave that up, I think, just because summer is so busy. And literally, when I ordered 3, they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, 3. You're asking where the third one was. The third one was already consumed in the car when I was on my way home. But it's a good 8.
So to
What-
tell you the truth, this is probably maybe the 3rd time I've ever had halo halo in my
entire
life. In my 45 years.
What?
I'm not a big halo
And
halo
listen to this.
guy.
Nick's parents are
Kick
all
him off.
Filipino,
Kick him off.
right? Nick's
Amor,
parents-
save me.
Nick's parents even
I
have
can't save
an
you. I
ice
had it like
crusher.
10 times at least.
Oh, you better.
Sorry.
Nick's
It's still low, but
parents-
it's not.
Nick's
Got
parents
double
have an
digits.
ice crusher. They actually make halo halo whenever we have parties together.
Yeah, my parents make it all
because
the time.
they know I love it so much. So they have like an ice crusher with all the fixings and the trims.
So
And
it's like
there's
all your
me-
fault.
It's all my fault.
It's-
And I would have like
it's kinda
a huge glass.
It's kind of
you
like
know.
me living in Arizona for almost 30 years and just trying tamales for the first time last year.
How many years? How many years? Daisy?
Oh, wow.
30 years.
30
I don't
years.
think I've tried tamales.
I've had tamales.
What was the place called that the grocery store? What's it called?
Seafood City.
Seafood
A, not to C, but CSEA Food City.
Yeah, look it up.
And
They might
there's a
have it.
Jollibee outlet right there as well, another Filipino takeout place. And I mean, I didn't grow up in Jollibee, but when it first came to Toronto, the lineup was around the blocks and blocks and blocks. So there's now 4 different locations here in the Toronto and the greater Toronto region. And we have 2 about 10 minutes drive away from us. So if anything, we're kind of spoiled with the Filipino. Again, we are in the city of Mississauga, right here in Ontario. We're just about 30 minutes out of Toronto. And we are part of that region where, I don't know, there's so many millions of us here. But it's, again, a huge, rich culture of Filipino also that we grew up with. And actually, this weekend, we're celebrating the Filipino Festival over in Mississauga. I know, like, last month
But
was a
it's
national
super
holiday.
expensive there.
Yeah, it's a little bit. They price everything up, but all the different vendors from all parts of Toronto come. And my personal favorite, as much as I love halo halo, is taho. I don't know if you guys
Taho!
love taho.
Oh,
I love taho. So when I found that
Love
vendor
taho.
there,
Train.
I'm like, take all my money
Taho.
right now and let me just drown in your deliciousness.
Yeah. But
Something we
as
were
a
talking about that
as a
was good.
non-biased halo halo taster, since I'm for those in the audience, when you taste it, it's sweet. There's a sweet taste to it. There are some crushed ice in there, so it's cold, and little chunks of little surprises.
Yeah, that's one of the things you gotta like kind of not
Yeah.
warn people, but it's like there are lots of different textures floating around
Like
in there.
jelly,
You know?
Yeah.
custard. There's even a
Yeah.
chickpea, and you're like, whoa, a chickpea? And a
Yeah.
black bean?
yeah.
So when I was little, I didn't even like all the halo halo part, which is why it's called halo halo, right? All the mixed stuff. I would literally drain my mom's halo halo and just eat the ice and the milk.
And the ube.
ice
Okay.
cream. And that was
Yeah.
it. And I would leave all of the
Something
it's
for
like,
all
you
the
know,
stuff
a
at the
third-
bottom.
A third of stuff for my mom or my dad,
Wow.
and they're like, really? And I'm like, I just didn't like it. And only when I became an adult that I'm like, oh, I really start to appreciate it. That my last trip to the Philippines, between me and my two cousins who met up there, we literally went to every single place, and our main thing was having a halo halo fest.
Oh,
It could be
right.
like a 7-star
Nice.
hotel. We're like, what's your halo halo like here? It could be just, I don't know,
Yeah.
Chow King, right? Chow King is another.
And were they all different?
They're all different, and some of them are just, some are spectacularly like presented to you. Like we went to
Oh, with ice cream on top, right?
ice cream on top, even like a fan of like waffles, like stuff like that. Like they'll make it like extra special. Some of them have the star anise. So it really depends where you go to, but like that was our intention for that trip. We're like, we're going on a halo halo crusade, and we're going to find and rate each halo halo as it is. And I think we're pretty sick of halo halo by the end of that 2-week trip. But I haven't been to the Philippines in over 10 years, so I feel like I'm back to appreciating the deliciousness.
Yeah.
Which I think kind of just perfectly explains. I think that's why we landed on that particular name, right? We're a mixture of varying levels of experiencing the Filipino culture. I think that is, it's perfect, and like you said, like there's different types of halo halo in even just in the Philippines, right? In the different varying restaurants and different varying
Regions.
provinces and regions, and obviously we're all from. None of us are from within a driving distance from one another, technically.
I could drive to you if I really put my heart into it. I'm a big driver.
We can
3-day
technically
drive.
drive to each other.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
3-day drive.
There is
but-
no ocean that's crossing between you and me. So.
Okay, we're not within a reasonable driving distance
Yeah.
from each other.
Within an hour. Within an hour.
I would have
you
to
know?
check into a hotel, I suppose. Okay.
Right.
fine.
But,
Yes,
But,
yeah.
but regardless of that, I mean, we've all experienced our culture in varying levels, and I think that's why, not just in the, of course, in that way, but really mixing our varying levels of Filipino culture, and even educating each other of that. And like Rob was like, "Hey, can you tell me the name of that grocery store again? Because your
Yeah.
boy." Do a
Yeah, I
quick
was
Google
looking it up.
search.
We don't have one in Austin, but we have a Filipino. We have some sort of a Filipino grocery store, so I might hit that up after we're done recording today.
Nice.
Okay.
There you
Because
go.
There's a seafood city in Chicago. Like I did,
Yeah.
I dropped in on that one.
okay.
And this is it. Even when I travel, I always try to like reach out to like what's Filipino somewhere, right? Like I'm just curious. And growing up here, we go to Florida almost every year. My tito lives there, and I'm surprised that Florida being such a touristy place and lots of Filipinos, there's not really a lot of Filipino places growing
like
up there.
restaurant.
And I feel like only recently there maybe a few of them pop up in the last maybe 5 to 7 years. But surprisingly, like growing up in the 90s and so forth, my uncle was always what's that word? He was always craving for Filipino food, right? So when my mom would visit, she would stay there for a month and literally like cook him so many dishes that he could like put in freezers for him. So he will just have it, or even like literally my mom would FedEx Filipino desserts from here over to him. Just so that he would get like whatever she makes, like leche plan or pulver.
Dang. I gotta
Yeah,
get
that's
Izzy's
commitment.
dad then.
Yeah.
Izzy's dad be like, hey, yo,
I need the hookup.
FedEx me some a tray of food. I know you made it for me before, dude.
I'm starving over here. Come on.
What's
My
the
brother in
Filipino?
Oklahoma.
What's the
When he first
Filipino
moved to
community like
Oklahoma,
in?
we would ship it to him.
Oh, dang,
Oh.
nice.
Yeah. We had a
What's the
friend
Filipino?
who,
Oh, sorry.
no,
Go ahead.
it was our-
Go
no,
ahead.
we had
Go ahead.
we had a friend who worked for American Airlines, and he would just literally pack a bunch of the food, bring it to my
Amazing.
brother in Oklahoma, and then eventually he learned how to cook his own Filipino food with his
Right.
own twist. So
That's the ticket
Nice.
right there. It's just learning to do it yourself. You know.
That's true. And this is it. It's like, do we have, that, what's it called, want to actually set up our own Filipino stores? Because I know we have a family friend over in, I think, Alberta, and there were very few Filipino stores there or restaurants there too. So one of my mom's friends there, a couple of them, they actually started a restaurant, right? But you do need the customer base, first of all, to support it. But if people don't know much about it, it's very hard to actually have it take off. But I think they're doing quite well. There's enough also Filipinos over in Alberta.
I'm just curious. In the U.S., which states have a big pocket of Filipinos that immigrated to that area? Because I know California, just because I have cousins there,
New Jersey.
Chicago,
Yeah.
New Jersey. What about do you guys? Where else? In Canada, it's
Arizona.
Toronto, Vancouver.
Arizona is
Arizona, there's
growing. The hard part
Yeah.
with Arizona is, I mean, Fred experienced it with when you say, "Oh, you live in Phoenix," then we go, which part of Phoenix? North, south, east,
Oh.
west, because it's a
Oh, it's
weird,
big.
it's a
didn't
weird,
know.
it's a weird kind of spread of the counties. And when you're talking about opening up a Filipino store, that was the difficulty with opening with restaurants popping up here. It's almost like you have a what we call the west side, kind of west side staple, because all the Filipinos are kind of spread around.
Oh,
And
okay.
just because of how Arizona, the
Because
Arizona
they're taking
community is.
California's Filipinos. That's
Exactly. And it's weird. It's actually weird. We don't have a seafood city yet, which is strange.
Oh,
But we do have a
yeah.
Jollibee. We have a
Okay.
Jollibee, and then
Actually,
when you come over here, like I said, there's multiple Filipino restaurants that are kind of spread, as they call it, the valley, spread around the valley.
Oh, okay.
So we have one in the East Valley, we have one right in Phoenix, we have one in the West Side. You know, it's not like in California when you're driving around in California. It's literally you cross over to Cerritos, you go to LA. There's always one, like literally
Okay.
around the corner.
Jollibee.
Right.
So in terms
There's
of like
Jollibee
groceries, if you have to find like patis or you have to find toyo, where do you guys get that? Because before
So,
there was seafood city, there
Chinese.
was Chinese, Asian
we
restaurant.
that's
like
the thing.
stores,
So
right?
our main staple here, instead of Seafood City, there's a market called Lily Supermarket,
Lily.
and it they were smart because they opened up kind of like right central, and people
Okay,
would
yeah.
drive. It's kind of like 20-30 minute drive from everybody, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's weird because in California, when you say a 20-30 minute drive, you're probably going 10 miles. Right.
Yeah.
Here in Arizona, a 20-30 minute drive, because of our freeway systems currently, you travel quite a bit. So, but they were smart. They kind of opened right in the middle. It's a Chinese-owned grocery supermarket, but they call
Yes.
it Lily International Supermarket. So
Yes.
it didn't just cater to the Filipinos. You have Filipinos, Indian food, and
Yeah.
like all the Southeast Asian kind of countries served
yeah.
into one.
The coconut
So-
oils,
Nice.
the
Yeah,
Eskimo.
and now you have different types of grocery stores like that. You have the Asian International Supermarket kind of spread around more over there. So it's almost like you were talking about patis. You didn't have the brand of patis that I want, which is kind of fish sauce for those of you who are
Yeah.
watching.
Yep.
You don't have this brand over here. I'll go to this international supermarket and see if they have this brand. You know, so that's kind of how it is situated here in Arizona.
Yeah.
How about you, Amor?
So I spent some time near the Portland area. I lived a couple years out there, and it was actually pretty easy to get a lot of things near the Portland area. Growing up, I grew up on the coast, and there was almost nothing out there. Like Astoria, Oregon, there was almost nothing for Filipinos. Like, if my parents wanted to get anything, we had a lot of friends in Portland. We would go up to Portland, drive like the 2 hours, visit with friends over there for like a day, and then we would hit, any of the shops that we could get all the things my mom needed to make all the things that we ate.
Yes.
And then we would do that trip like once a month and visit with Filipino friends. But where I grew up, there was nothing. I now live closer to like central Oregon, kind of southern Oregon. Not a lot. There's not a lot out here, so it's kind of tough. There's like one little shop that has some things, but like it's difficult. So it's tough, like getting any of that stuff here.
And you must have had like your cravings, right? Growing up, like
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like this, and you can't just get it, right?
Yeah. My mom would be like, "Oh, what do you want? Do you want some pancit? Do you want some lumpia? Do you want, any of the things?" I mean, adobo was a staple, of course, but like sometimes like the dishes that required more specialized ingredients, it would be like, "Oh, maybe in a week or two." And I'd be like, "Okay."
I'll just have a bologna sandwich. Fine.
Wait for the party.
Yeah, I guess I'll have my peanut butter jelly
That's
sandwich.
right.
As a
With
kid.
I'm picturing like your car trunk filled with like gallons of like toyo,
Yeah.
of
Yo.
soy sauce and like vinegar and stuff. Just
Hoarding.
like
It must
bottle
have
after
We
smelled
would-
so
bottle.
good. Your
Yeah,
car
we
coming
would
back
we
home.
would have the bigger bags of rice. We would
Yep.
have like
Yeah.
the bigger containers of all of the things just in the trunk, and it'd be like me in like the back seat with my Game Boy
Oh,
for like an hour, and I'd fall asleep the other hour, and then that was like the thing we do every month.
Yeah.
Just to like we'd visit with my parents' friends, and we'd go buy Filipino food.
all the ingredients.
Yeah, all the
It's like, oh,
ingredients.
we're
so
fat again for the next month. Hallelujah.
yeah, that's exactly how it worked. Yeah.
How is it in Austin, Kuya Rob?
Austin, I'm not entirely sure. Just I just moved here like 2 months ago, so I haven't met really any Filipino people, but I would imagine. I mean, Austin as a city is such a melting pot of people that there's got to be a large Filipino
from
community
Hallmark.
here.
Yeah.
I heard.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
heard
that's-
Houston.
yeah.
I heard Houston has a large
Houston?
Filipino
Houston-
population.
Houston is just large in general. I was there
Yeah.
for Brick Rodeo, and I was like, this place is gigantic. Like, what the heck? This is way bigger than Austin.
Well,
So
beyond Filipino, but even Houston, one of my good friends from work, she's Vietnamese. And I think Houston is the second largest population for Vietnamese culture
Oh, okay.
in the US after a city in California. So her husband and her just went over the lunar holiday. And she's like, there was a lot of Filipinos too. I'm like,
That's
yeah, you
awesome.
probably see us around, right? But
There you
she said
go.
it was a lot of Vietnamese.
Where were you before, Kuya Rob?
I was in Detroit, and so it's interesting. Like I was thinking about Detroit, I was like, I don't really know. I didn't have any close Filipino friends growing up. Really, what it was. So my grandparents came over from the Philippines, moved to Detroit, and they they're both doctors. And so through working at the hospital and stuff, they met other Filipino families. There are like 4 other families. So I always refer to my grandpa and the other 4 grandpas as like the heads of the 5 families,
Yeah.
yeah, the first ones.
You say grandpa, not Lolo. You say grandpa.
I do
not
I do
Lolo?
say grandpa, yeah.
Okay.
But what was I going to say? Oh, so with my dad's generation, obviously all of them had kids, and they would get together for like Christmas because they didn't have any family in
It's just the family
the
friends.
area. Yeah, exactly. So they would get together with the family friends, and it was a very, very close knit group of people. But then all of those kids moved all across the U.S.
Yeah, awesome.
So Austin, yeah. So they're all scattered throughout the U.S. So growing up, like we still had Filipino food and stuff, but didn't have too many other Filipino families, in the area that we would see
I see.
on a regular basis. Yeah.
Yeah. In our area in Toronto, there are a lot of Filipinos, but then a lot of Filipinos that were my age that were born here. So I was telling you guys earlier, my grade 8 class, half of us were Filipino, and then the other half.
Oh,
was
yeah,
like,
that's wild.
But most of
That's
them
and then the
were
other
wild.
half.
most of them were
Amazing.
born here, right?
Yeah,
So
all of them were born here.
yes,
like
all
all
of them
their
were born
friends.
here. I was the kid coming from a different country at 10, and I was jealous that I wasn't born here.
Oh,
And
right.
I knew how to speak English. I was fluent enough. I came from Brunei. I don't know if you ever heard that country. It's a Malaysian country south of the
She moved there when
Philippines.
she was 4.
And my dad worked for Shell, and before, and I spoke English fluently enough, but of course I had like a Malaysian accent. So
You had a
would-
Malaysian accent, not a Filipino
no,
accent.
a Malaysian accent. And so I would say words, and those mean Filipino Canadians would make fun of me.
It
right?
wasn't me. It wasn't me. I'm good.
Bullies. There's such bullies.
Well, she told me she came.
Oh my
she
gosh.
first came to Canada. Her mom knitted her these bright pink
Yeah,
gloves.
we were so
and this
excited.
bright pink scarf.
And I thought I'd wear them because you were 10. I was still very, very innocent at 10, right? Like I loved
Yeah.
gemming the holograms. Hello. And so I think we went to something similar to a Walmart when we first came. And I actually saw one of those lunch boxes, like a lunch box. And I didn't have a lunch box in Brunei. It was just like a canteen, right? Like it was an all-girl Catholic school. And then I come here and suddenly there were boys in my class. I can buy a Gem and the Holograms lunch box.
Oh, you got a German holiday.
Yeah, Gem and the Holograms. I didn't know. I was so innocent.
The cool kids had paper bags.
I come to school and everybody had these brown paper bags, and I'm like, where's your lunchbox? So anyways, that was again a cultural, I don't know, rift right there, right? At 10.
Yeah.
And you know it
Wow.
right away as 10. And here I was wearing like bright pink because I don't know, bright pink was such a fun color. And everybody was like already black, dark blue, like so cool. And I'm like, oh my God, how do I assimilate? Right? How do I assimilate?
Yeah.
And within a year, it was like a transformation.
You lost your accent.
Lost my accent. I could say broccoli fine,
Not
but I had like
broccoli?
perfect spelling.
Broccoli.
Toboggan.
That happened to me initially when I moved to Arizona, because it's funny because you're talking about those metal canteen things in the Philippines. I went to a Catholic school too, all boys Catholic school,
Yes.
and we had our little Coleman canteen
Yeah.
kind of like metal things. You have your rice, you have your ulam or whatever the side dish is, right?
Yes.
Different levels.
Yes.
And when I first moved here in Arizona, I was a teenager, right? I was a teenager,
Mm.
and then my mom would and dad, because my dad loves to cook, he would make his baon, or for those of you who are watching, that's your meal for the day,
Yes.
right? And I'll have
Your
my
takeout.
Tupperware, and then everybody else is lined up for the cafeteria, and I'm like,
Oh,
what's
no.
everybody doing,
Yeah.
right? And then here you are with your rice and your
With your rice.
whatever the
In the
whatever the
corner.
ulam is, and you're like, okay.
Nobody,
And then-
nobody wanted to trade with you.
Yeah,
Izzy?
no,
Nobody
I
wanted
was
to
gonna
trade.
say,
Yeah,
and
no one
wanted to
basically-
trade.
I'll give you
Hey,
fries
I'm
for
sorry,
this.
Oh, can I have some gushers or
basically,
what the
to be
heck is
honest,
that?
That's how I found out. That's how I found out about Taco Bell burritos, because
Oh.
they served Taco Bell. Either you get the bean burrito or the meat burrito at our school, and that's how I found out about Taco Bell, because I was like,
Oh,
Mom,
wow.
just give me lunch money.
Amazing.
It's like, Mom,
Yeah.
just give me lunch money,
Just
and then
give me
I
lunch
found out,
money.
oh, there's a Taco Bell drive-through. It's like, what is this? You know, and yeah, so I kind of relate to that in terms of, even as a teenager moving
Yeah.
straight from the Philippines to here, like even the culture shock of that in terms of how you bring your food,
Yes.
how they serve your food, and even just the school system in general.
Yes.
Yeah. That's very
Listen.
interesting.
Yeah, which brings me to which brings you guys a good look into all the different levels of culture we've all kind of experienced. I know Canada might be a little bit different from from America, but I feel like most metropolitan cities have a good number of Filipinos, with the exception of what I've come to, I guess, realize in my head, and it made more sense to me as I thought about it. Typically, those cities that have a naval base have a large amount of Filipinos. Obviously,
Virginia.
there's Virginia is a big one. Southern California,
San
big
Diego.
one.
Yep.
Yeah, San
Yeah.
Diego.
Yeah.
Yep.
San Diego's
Um,
huge.
Right. So those have a naval base, but then again, there's different cities. New Jersey is infamous for having a lot of Filipinos. Houston, I've always heard, is infamous for having a lot of
Hawaii.
Filipinos. Hawaii, because it's a hop, skip, and a jump away from there. It's like halfway to California anyway.
That's what my
so-
wife was. My wife is a
Right.
Navy baby. So
There you go. And so I know Chicago, with the boot camp, naval boot camp, just north of Chicago.
Mm.
And so I've just, for whatever reason, just realized like, well, I've got some uncles that, are retired Navy, veterans and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense why there's
Yeah.
so many. So, but moving forward, I just wanted to thank Rob for letting this awesome show be part of the ELPN. And this is where you will find future episodes of Holla Holla Time. So, Rob, I just wanted to kind of get some insight on you. Like, thank you for having us. But
Yeah.
why us?
Yeah.
Thank you for saying yes, but why yes?
Yeah. I don't know. I was bored, and you guys pitched the idea. I was like, all right, fine, I guess.
I guess these are fun people, I guess.
There might be some fine.
Friends paid me a bunch of money, so
Double again.
Grow the channel. I don't know. Whatever. It sounds like a good idea. No, but actually, so it was at Brickworld Chicago. I think we mentioned Brickworld Chicago. The realization, first of all, of how many Filipinos are in the Lego community. Someone posted a picture, Nick, maybe it was you with like the Filipino squad or whatever, and
Yeah, it was me.
TD Bricks was in it,
Yeah.
and Shy and Nicole.
Paul.
And I had no idea that Nicole was Filipino, and Shy. I was always like, is he Filipino? Is he Mexican? I don't know. I don't want to ask. I don't know.
Well, both of them are half. They're half. Hapa.
Yeah.
They're half. Okay, yeah. And that's a thing. Like Filipinos and Mexicans always, not always, but they get confused a lot. You know,
We cousins, dude. We
it's
cousins.
true. We are the
true.
Mexicans of
Moving
Asia.
to Arizona.
Right?
I mean,
Yeah.
when I moved to Arizona, everybody thought I was Mexican. I just
Are
went
you
along with it, to
Mexican?
be
Yeah.
honest.
Right. Right.
You just agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
And my last name, and my last name had a variation of just
Right.
with the Spanish influence in the
That's right.
Philippines, it had
Okay.
a
That's
right.
variation of in the Spanish language.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there were those moments of, I'm
Yeah. I'll just.
sorry, I'm not Mexican. I can't
Not-
understand Spanish.
It's not me.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. But the other thing that I realized at Brickworld was that obviously the thing that brings us all together is the Lego, but there are other interests and hobbies that we have. Like a bunch of us ran a 5K at Brickworld Chicago on Saturday morning, and so I was like, oh wow, there's like all of these people that love to run and also love Lego. Like this is cool, and it was an opportunity for this show to, first of all, share the Filipino culture and the heritage, something that I'm extremely proud of, and we'll talk about any opportunity that I'm given to talk about it.
Yeah.
And also selfishly, like I'm very excited to learn a lot more about the Filipino
Right,
culture.
right.
You know, I was thinking about it. I was like, it would be great. Like we can teach people like about the Filipino culture, about the food and the language and
The mannerisms, like we point with our lips.
the mannerisms. Exactly.
I don't do it enough.
And I feel like I'm gonna learn more. But yeah, so the t-shirt, you gotta show.
Look at them more.
I was gonna reference it.
There it is.
His head just kind of kept popping up over the over the edge a little bit. But that's a more pointing in Filipinos. A lot of times when they're pointing to something, instead of pointing with their
Yes.
hand, they'll just point with their lips. Over there.
Is it because it's rude? Is it because it's rude to point with your finger? So
I think
they're
it's
actually
trying
don't know.
appendage.
less
Like,
rude.
what if you're like?
I
what
don't
if you're
know.
busy
There
with
could
your hands
be
eating,
the origin.
and then
It's because you're holding. You have to
do
hold your
hollow,
hollow
Right,
in your
and I have to go,
hands.
oh, I can't.
And
That one.
Right there.
It must be over there. But another test of being a Filipino is when someone calls you and they go, "Psst," and they're not
See how
really
many people
Filipino
turn
when
around.
they don't
See how
respond
many
to
people
that.
turn around.
Yeah.
Hey, which one? How do you guys say it? I go, "Psst," and he goes,
Yeah, it's an S.
"Oh, really?" I go, "Psst." I have a P there. So my kids, they don't respond to it. I'm like, oh my god, it's lost.
Yeah,
Lost.
I'm like,
my cousins, my uncle will do it, but only when he's mad.
oh,
And
it's
so
scary.
sometimes I'll mess with my cousins. And I'll just be like, "Psst." And they're like,
And it freaks them
what? Drop everything that they're doing, throw their
What did I
hollow
do?
across the room. Like, oh, sorry.
My mom did it more when she was mad. I mean, she would do it, but it was more indicative of when she was like angry,
Oh.
trying to get
my
my
mom
attention.
just calls my entire
Yeah.
full name out, and I just hide.
That's
Did that
That's
happen
the
to
next
you?
level. That's
Oh.
the next
my mom
level.
calls
The
it.
next
My
level
mom
of
calls
being
me
mad.
You're
with
really
the
in
Spanish
trouble.
version of my name. That's the
Yeah.
Tagalog version of my name. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
Carlos.
Oh.
It's like when you hear
Oh my
Carlos, you're like,
God.
oh crap, I need to go back.
Am I
like,
going to
go back inside the
kneel
house.
on rice now?
yeah, for real.
I didn't do that.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a thing.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, that's why I wanted the show to be a part of the channel, and it'll be an awesome thing. And it's funny, like Fred, you said, there's a smaller niche within like the Lego niche. But then it's also like this smaller niche of being Filipino, which is also way larger than the Lego thing as well. So it's like a small niche within a larger
What
thing.
are those things? We're all Venn diagrams. Like, what is inclusive or exclusive?
Yeah.
of each
Oh,
other?
yeah,
Venn
yeah.
diagrams.
But yeah, I'm excited to like learn and also teach other people about the Filipino culture.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think in order for us to I guess move forward with our episodes and before we bring in guests, I think we decided to I guess introduce parts of our crew at a time. So I think what we decided was I think you guys, Nick and Maria, for a group to be introduced today, and then for I guess myself to I guess introduce, and then as we move forward, we'll introduce more and more of the cast. We'll probably start to introduce some of the rotating cast as well. As we move forward with other episodes and bring in people that are not Filipino, and whatnot, and kind of have fun with that. So I look forward. I look forward to getting to know you guys more. I mean, I know a decent amount of Amor and AZ, just from working together, being colleagues on Twitch, but also maybe may or not have actually staying in that room that AZ is in.
We only know that room. We only know that room.
Amazing.
His workout room.
He slept within all the Lego over here.
Right, yeah. I had Lego boxes as my pillows.
Hey, when
But
you got
I-
full belly of adobo, chicken adobo or pork adobo, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter where you're sleeping. You
can literally
just
pass
conk
out anywhere.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Little tidbit about that when Fred was here. When Fred was here, I asked him, "Hey, what do you want? What do you want my dad to cook? Right? Do you want menudo?
Yeah.
Do you want kare-kare? Do you want adobo?"
Whoa, so
So,
lucky.
I
Amazing.
forgot what I told my dad, but he cooked all three.
Ooh,
And
I
I told
love
Fred,
your
you need
dad
to bring
Look at
this home.
Fred.
Booking my
I couldn't
flight
bring it
to
home.
What is-
Arizona.
What was that invite? When was
Yeah,
that? And is that an annual thing? And then maybe
Yeah.
we'll have a celebration of this in about 6
Hey.
months, a year.
That's awesome.
Meet up in Arizona, I
up.
guess.
Yeah.
Not during the summer.
Yeah, no, please, God,
Not
no.
during the summer.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no,
God,
that's
no.
not
Moving to
happening.
Arizona.
But yeah, so I look forward to doing that. But yeah, we should go ahead and get started on.
I want to start it off a little bit with a
Yeah.
question to both of you guys explaining the names, right?
Yeah.
We've got
Oh,
Tito,
right.
Tito Fred, and Ate. How do you say the second word
Oh,
of that?
Ma'an?
Ma'an?
That's just my
Okay.
nickname. So
Okay.
I'm really Maria, but
Right.
my middle name is Andrea, and I guess Filipinos are so good at splicing names together.
They
Let me tell you
do.
all the wonderful names I have of friends whose parents would mesh their names together, like father and mother, and so I have a lot of those friends. So my name is Maria
Wow.
Andrea in my birth certificate, but I had a ninang, a godmother, who put the first two letters
Ma'an.
of each name together. So I become Ma'an all my life. But not many friends know me as Ma'an, except of course my Filipino relatives. Nick,
I'm
knows me
only
as
gonna
Ma'an.
call
I
you
don't
Ma'an.
I'm
No.
Ma'an.
Ate
So I'm
Ma'an.
always Ate
Ate
Ma'an,
Ma'an.
right? And it's ironic because I don't have any siblings, so nobody's ever really called me Ate in my life, except I do
Wow.
have cousins. I do have young family friends like yourself, Rob, who I've grown up with, and I'm always like the
Yeah.
oldest kid. So, again, in any Filipino culture, if you're the oldest kid and someone starts crying, guess who's in trouble? What did
Yeah.
you do now, Ma'an?
Ate and Kuya.
So you kind of run away
Ma'an.
from that. But
Yeah.
or you learn how to tell them to be quiet, and so that's the story of my name, Ma'an.
Funny
then-
you ask.
and Ate.
Ate. Yeah, go ahead.
And
Ate.
Ate means older sister.
Older sister.
So usually it's also a form of respect, I guess, when you don't know somebody too well, and you feel that there may be an older person than you. You put the, I guess, prefix Ate so and so, or Kuya if it's for a male, so and so.
Mhm.
Tito and Tita are aunt and uncle. Nanay and Tatay are father and mother. But
And
I
this
think
is all in the Tagalog.
yes, the
language.
Tagalog
Because
nomenclature.
there's so many different
Yeah.
dialects,
Yes,
and they
but
have different
usually,
ones.
even if you don't know somebody too well, just as a form of respect, I will always call somebody tita or tito if I don't know them.
Yeah.
Like I know in the North American culture, go sorry Mrs. Smith or sorry Mr. Smith, but we'll go sorry tita Rose or
Mhm.
how are you,
Mhm.
Tito?
And I
right?
don't know if you guys know, but so my mom's the youngest. There's four siblings, four sisters. She calls her oldest sister Ate. The second oldest she calls
Diche.
Diche.
Yeah.
And then the third oldest she calls Sanse.
And I feel like
I
it's
don't-
more of a
have you guys heard
Chinese
that?
culture.
It's Bisaya.
So,
It's
Visaya?
a it's a
Bisaya.
dialect.
Oh,
that's
Yep,
why
it's a
I
dialect.
haven't heard it.
Yeah, so
I didn't
Because
know
so
that.
Bisaya is
there's
also
different levels.
Manang,
There's different
Yes.
and
levels. Yeah.
Manong.
So
And there's
again, it's like you mentioned. I mean, there's
different
the
dialects.
three main regions in the Philippines. There's different. I forgot how many dialects there were. My
Many.
dad worked as a Levi's salesman in the Philippines when he was there. So he would travel
Oh,
all
wow.
over the Philippines, and he knows the southernmost dialect. There's
Wow.
there's different multiple dialects, but there's a dialect for each main region of the Philippines, the three main regions.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when you go international, like in Disney. When you go in Disney, they always make the announcements in English, French, and Chinese, right? So it's like in
Not
the
Spanish?
regions in the Philippines, you have like the main dialect for that certain
Mhm.
region. So
Hmm.
that it
Yeah.
came from that.
But until I met
believe it
his
is
mom,
Bisaya. I think
I've
it is
never
Bisaya.
heard of that sort of countdown.
Because
right?
my dad's Visaya, and he calls his
Right.
oldest brother Manong,
Manong.
and then
Oldest sister is
Manang.
Manang.
So I don't know if that's also
That's a
Visaya.
general term. Manong and
Oh.
Manang.
And I
Manong
feel
and
like-
Manang.
What is
It's
it?
like the oldest. It's an
Oldest.
elder. It's
Yes.
an elder. So when you say when you say
Manang Maan,
lolo
don't
or
call me
lola,
Manang Maan.
right? So as a respect, like if you see somebody else's um not really a friend, or like if you see an older gentleman like in the streets in the Philippines, like when you ask Manong, like Manong, where like in it, it'll be in Tagalog, like Manong, where's this area, right?
Yes,
Where is
yes.
this store, or
It's
do
like
you know
sir-
this person, right?
Sir
Manong.
or
But like
Sir,
a,
it's like-
specific,
it's like
specified
sir.
age
Yep, it's
of
like
like,
Yeah,
hey,
okay.
you're an elderly gentleman.
Exactly.
Ergo, rather
I
than
was-
calling you sir, it's
exactly.
Mano.
In the
Mano. I
kuya
was
and
taught that.
ate, it's funny in
Yeah.
the
We taught
kuya
that
and
too, yeah.
ate.
Yeah.
It's like they don't really need to be older than you as a sign of respect in the Philippines.
Oh.
It's almost like if you see, like if I
Mhm.
saw Rob or Fred, kind of like kuya Rob, it's like
Hmm.
as a sign of respect, it's like, hey kuya, where's
Mm.
where's
Yeah.
I
where's
thought
the
it's like pare.
where's the
Hey,
Parmesan
pare.
cheese?
Pare. No,
Yeah, that's
pare's
like super.
buddy.
Like that's casual. Like that's somebody you actually know. But I like.
I can't
like,
be a
even-
pare. I'm so
Pare.
sad.
But I mean, that's what we would say too. I mean, me and AZ did that. We do that all the time
Yeah.
on Twitch. But even like even if you don't know like specifically the age, but they're relatively around the same age. Like you would use ate or kuya. But I know they're like, but I'm older than you, but I'm younger than you. But it's like, or whatever it is. Like
Yeah.
regardless, it's within the same age, and it's the same thing with like Tito and Tita, right? Like I go over to my Filipino friends' homes. Like I would go over to my Filipino friends' homes, and their parents are there in the kitchen or whatever, like whatever,
Yeah.
doing whatever. And rather than calling them by their they introduce themselves by their names, but rather than doing that, from that point forward, they were Tito and Tita, and they
Yeah,
weren't even blood
yes.
related,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I would always call them Tito and Tita. Like
Yeah.
when I met AZ's parents, I called them
Tito,
Tito
yeah.
and
Yep.
Tita.
You almost
Like,
don't know their
like,
first names. You're just like Tita, right?
Oh, yeah.
Tito,
No.
right?
There's so many
You
of
know.
my parents' friends that I don't remember their names.
It's easier.
I was
It's easier that way.
Yes. But they
Yeah.
always
And the-
respond, oh, what can I do for you? Or ano na
When-
anak.
when you go to the store, actually, like, like I was mentioning earlier, when you go to the store, that's just a sign of respect, because you don't know the clerk's name, right? You'll just say,
Yeah.
ate, where's this, or kuya, where's this, or if they're a little bit older, it's a sign of respect. Tito, where's this, or tita,
That's
or
interesting.
tita,
Yeah.
tita, can I have halo halo, please? Yeah,
It's like going to Jollibee and they call you Mum Sir. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Mom, sir.
Mum Sir.
I got that.
Wait,
When
wait.
I was buying the halo
Mom,
halo,
sir.
they're like, here you go, mom.
Tito
I'm like,
Fred, you have
"Oh."
to explain what Mumster is for people. For
It's
the
like
audience watching.
it's literally that splicing of like, well, you know what? I'm not gonna. It's 2023. I'm not gonna assume your gender, and, I guess. But really, it's like, you know what? Rather than me trying to decide, like, if I'm not even gonna
trying to
look up that shit.
discern.
Yeah, rather than me trying to discern in my head whether or not you're, I'm using the right gender.
Cover all
I'm
your
just
bases,
gonna-
man.
Yeah, you gotta cover all the bases and be like, I'm gonna show you respect, but also show respect by not assuming your gender. Mum, sir?
Mom, sir. Ma'am,
That
sir,
is
ma'am,
nice.
sir.
Here's your
Oh,
chicken.
I have not
Here's your
heard
chicken
of
joint.
that.
I
Wait,
feel like I
what did
should
you
greet you
think- what
guys
did
like
you
that
think?
when you enter
I
my
know.
chat.
Well, I mean, mom is mom.
What did you think,
and
mom,
sir
sir?
is sir. I've never heard it called together as a
Oh.
compound, mom, sir.
Mum, sir.
It's-
I've heard that.
Ma'am,
Sana.
sir.
Yeah,
Mom,
it's
sir.
a they. It's
Just
a
jam
they,
them
right?
together.
Mix, mix.
Yeah.
Mix. Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Well, that's what I'm gonna come out, and remember from this episode, mom, sir. I'm
Yeah.
gonna start using
Well,
that.
I know. AZ gets this a lot, but I think while we're on the subject of introducing names and whatnot, you always have to. I feel like AZ always has
Yeah.
to explain what Pinoy is.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
get pony because it's just how it
Oh,
flashes
right.
on. Sometimes chat goes by fast when you're
Yeah.
going to Twitch and stuff, and
Yeah.
people don't recognize the name, and they immediately just how they see it is easy
Yeah.
pony.
Yeah.
But for those of you who are watching, Pinoy is like a slang for
Little
for
boy.
Filipino,
Oh.
right? Filipino. Yeah,
That
yeah,
was little boy.
Pinoy, Pinay, and that's just like how you would call somebody from the Philippines, like Americans. There's
Yeah.
there's multiple different slang that you can call
Pinoy.
somebody
Yeah.
somebody from the Philippines. Pinoy, Pinay.
Right
There it is.
there, you go.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then they
and-
shorten
and-
it to just Noi. Noi.
What
Yeah,
is
they call
little
Noi.
boy again? There's a word for little boy when you just said that.
Is
I
that
can't remember. now.
Pinoy? Noi?
But I want to say Nino, but that's like
Santo
No,
Niño.
it's there's again, it's different regions, different languages like Buknoy,
Totoy.
Buknoy,
Tot-
Totoy.
Totoy is something else.
Buknoy, yeah, Buknoy is like junior basically. But I found this out again. I moved here when I was a teenager, but
Yeah.
when my cousin moved here, he's older than me. When he moved here, he kept calling me Bok. What the heck is
Oh.
Bok? Like
Bok?
that's not my nick. It's like that's not my nickname in the Philippines. It's like what's Bok? And he called
Huh.
everybody Bok. Basically it's kind of like dude, and they shortened
Ah.
Boknoy.
Really?
So it's kind of like that's how during
Bok
when he
Noy.
was growing up there,
Did
that's how
not
they called
Bok.
everybody. It's like Bok.
Bulk.
Dude.
I'm gonna
So-
call you Buck from now on in the chat.
B-O-K.
Boy,
Yeah,
Yeah, how do you
right?
spell
Okay.
that?
Or kind of like
BUK?
when you see BUK, BUK, and
BUK.
OK.
Okay.
So it's kind of like if you
Okay.
notice, Bricks and Minifix Ontario, in on Twitch, the
Oh, in
owner
California.
Raph, he would Ontario, California, when he would go in my chat, or if he sees me in Fred's chat or Amor's chat, he always says tol, TOL, with a height with a apostrophe on it. That means utol. It's a slang for utol, basically meaning brother. So that's another thing you
I
would
didn't know that
hear.
until I saw
I'm
it.
learning
Yeah,
so
there was-
much.
Dialect.
There was
I'm
another
I know my
learning
thing.
so
brain
much.
hurts. Guys,
Yeah.
this is
I'm
very
like-
late.
You had to explain
Percentage
it. You
of
had to explain
Filipino
it.
that I am is increasing by the minute.
AZ.
I-
Are you taking notes?
Feel
Turn in your card,
Give
Rob.
me the karaoke microphone. I'm ready to sing.
Yeah, as the Filipinos would say, the Tagalog speakers, meron ako nosebleed. Ay, nako. Ay, nosebleed. Which is like, you're making me think a lot. Just slow down.
Yeah,
Nos-
take a break
nos-
or
nos-
whatever.
Nosebleed.
Is utol in Tagalog or that's a different dialect altogether?
I believe it is Tagalog. Yeah. I believe
Wow,
it is
that's like
Tagalog. So
That's
deep
just-
Tagalog.
So it's like if
Yeah.
I see
Deep.
Fred, Amor, and Rob, or Nay, it's like, hey,
Deep.
tol, like brother, hey,
Whoa.
or like
Wow.
again,
Yeah, you had to
Yeah.
explain that one to me.
Pare.
I didn't know it.
it's like pare,
Yeah,
like
I
a close friend.
Total.
Right?
I
It's a
feel
close
like
friend.
I'm quite fluent in Tagalog. Like I can speak it well enough and I can get by. I'll probably like mix in Taglish meaning Tagalog and English.
Yeah.
But you know, again, a lot of the people in the Philippines are quite versed in English anyways that you can easily get through. But you know, in some maybe province areas, I could go get by with my Tagalog. But there are some like really super deep Tagalog that I'm like, what are you even saying?
Even
Like,
when I
what language is this? And my cousins in the Philippines, they actually say Tagalog is their most challenging subject.
Yeah, they have to
They
take
are
Tagalog.
practically failing Tagalog. English, fine, perfect grammar, perfect everything, you know. But English, they're saying I think they have to take it like first year high school, and they're like, we're bombing it. We have no idea what we're saying.
in
That's crazy.
the Philippines, English like when you go to the scholastic system over here, they say English is your second language, ESL, but in the Philippines, when you take your English classes, at least where I was, the school that I was going to, whenever you meet your English teacher, you have to speak English. You can't speak Tagalog.
Right.
So that's how you kind of get ingrained into
Wow.
speaking English. So that's why when you said, when you move somewhere, like when I moved here, I spoke like textbook
Perfect
English,
Yeah.
right? And when
Yeah.
the kids would
no
say,
slang.
"Oh, that's bad," and I'm like, "What did I do? I
Yeah.
thought I did something
I
awesome."
know.
It's
Someone
like,
told me
"Oh,
to screw you in grade 7, and I'm like, what?
But that is bad when they say.
Have you
screw
guys ever seen?
I didn't know what that was. I thought it was a tool from Home Hardware or something.
Oh.
Have you guys seen the? There's like a comedian who, I think he's from somewhere in Europe, and he talks about like moving to the United States and like how people use the word ass. He's like, I didn't realize like there's so many different things. Like if you put bad in front of it, that's cool. But if you
Yeah.
just call someone
Dumb.
ass,
After
then
with a
that's
hole.
bad.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah, with the
Dumb-
whole,
dumb in
that's
front of it.
also bad. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. That's why the English language is quite complex in its, challenging
Yeah.
ways, right?
For
it's
sure.
It's something
Yeah.
that, as much as you're saying you're textbook English savvy, like the slang that is thrown at you when you get to North America, just like, okay, let me absorb this and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Figure it
For
out.
sure.
That was a little.
Yeah.
That was a little Canadian that came through there. Did anyone else catch that? Figure it out.
I-
No,
I
Did you say
I
figure
caught
it
it.
me too.
out? Aboot?
Out.
We really don't
Out.
talk like that. Like, even when we hear the Canadian accent, we're like, wow, that's a Canadian.
Well, there's like deep Canadian,
They're like,
There
north,
is.
north.
like in
Yeah.
Newfoundland
Yeah.
or New Brunswick.
Yeah.
Like really noticeable.
So, Tito Fred, what percentage Filipino are you?
I'm full Filipino. I'm
Full?
basically
100%?
full.
100%.
I mean,
100%.
I have like a great grandmother who was like
Yeah.
full Chinese, and like another
Yeah,
great grandmother
this
that
is
was like
Oh no!
Full
It sounds
Spanish.
like 99.2%.
Yeah.
You are
Percentages.
diluted.
basically. But
This is it.
if we're talking
Culture.
technically,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as
Grandparents, parents, you.
right,
100%.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's all it-
basically.
But that's
I'm
what makes
focused on.
the Philippine
Did-
people so mixed, right? We have such a
Right.
mixture of so many cultures. Like, it's like the archipelago in the middle of so many countries. Malaysian from the south, right? So all that southern area, it's Muslim still, I believe.
Yeah.
And so, but then 99% of the Philippines is Catholic, Roman Catholic from the
Mm.
Spaniards, and all that
Yep.
colonization
Yep.
happening. And then the Americans came to kind of free us from the Japanese. And so all those bloodlines, and the Chinese, hey, they're like neighbors from the north. But all those bloodlines that come through, like there's always a very big Chinatown in the Philippines, and they make the best hopia. Like, I
Mm.
love the bundok hopia or whatever it's called. And there's even our pancit. That's very much a Chinese culture noodle idea, right? So we are quite a mesh
Yeah.
of
Not just
so
Mexican.
many Asian cultures, really, in the Philippines. We absorb it because I think maybe we assimilate too well. I don't know.
Maybe.
Do we assimilate too well?
We're too hospitable.
We're too
is what it is.
hospitable.
Yeah.
We're so nice.
We're too nice. We're too nice.
We're
to
too
everybody
nice.
that comes in. Yeah, come in here, no problem. Yeah, you too. Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
sure.
Yeah, we'll practice. We'll practice your religion. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you too. Yeah, no
Oh,
problem.
you want to
That
see your food?
happens,
Okay,
you
fine,
laugh.
that's fine.
Because
It's
that
true.
happens. That happens in
It
the
really
Filipino
does.
basketball league. In the Philippines, there's PBA,
PBA,
Filipino
yeah.
Basketball Association,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
retiring NBA players from over here,
Foreigners.
Yeah.
they would like, oh, you're a Filipino citizen now. You're playing here, so they play.
Really?
They call them imports.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Imported from another country, and they play there. So
I didn't know
It's
that.
totally a thing. Totally a thing.
Huge.
yeah, and
Yeah,
it's,
full-
it's kind of like what Amor was saying earlier. Like when you grew up here, and you kind of see that in the Filipino channel, to where if you were born here, you're light skinned, you can become an actor in the
Yeah.
Philippines, and
Mestizo.
and they find it cute when you have that little English accent when you speak Tagalog.
Yes,
Right, and
nakakagigil. Say it again.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah, that was Bruno Mars.
You know,
That was Bruno
Girl
Mars
Breaks a Lot.
a couple
She
weeks
was in
ago.
the-
Bruno
Bruno
Mars.
Mars.
Yeah,
a
Bruno
lot.
Mars.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Girl Breaks a Lot. She was in the pageant world a while, and when she
Mm.
went to Manila, like that was like her forum, right? Like she was
Mhm.
very much into the pageant world because she's gorgeous. And oh my God, you're a little bit Filipino. Well, yes, come represent me. Like the last Miss Universe was. What was her background? She was like half Australian, half Filipino.
Okay.
Like they are now, putting into that foreground, like who can represent my country, and you're not. What is 100% Filipino at this point? Right?
Yeah.
Like we are only
Right.
thinking 100% Filipino because both of your parents are 100% and your grandparents are 100%. But in the whole mix of DNAs ever, are we really all 100% Filipino?
Was it Miss America or Miss Universe a couple years ago that was Filipino when like Steve
Yes.
Harvey messed up
Miss
Yeah.
Universe was
Yeah.
Miss Universe?
Yeah.
Okay, Miss
The,
Universe was Filipino.
I think
Yeah.
she was,
and of course all
she
the
was-
Filipino flags. Woo!
I think she was part
Right?
German. I think. I
Okay.
think she was part German,
Okay.
Yes,
Oh.
that's right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
and she's
Yeah, but
now a
we're-
star. She's now a star in the Philippines.
Yeah.
We're clearly a really proud people, but we also are proud to share it. I guess I'm just like, yeah, whatever, no big deal. But yeah, no, it's full. I guess in a way, technically, I can't say I'm full 100% Filipino, but when people ask, I'll just say I'm Filipino.
Yeah.
Each of my parents are Filipino, and I just
can't-
go
it's
with
fine.
that. Yeah, I'm not gonna
You-
go
you
into
ha-
my whole.
You're not gonna dig into.
genealogy.
You're not gonna dig into
No.
like the small percentage.
What's the website? Yeah, what's the website where you can
23
see
and me.
23 and me. Oh man, you should take the test, dude.
you like have it
So we
out
can
on
get
your-
it down
on your
to the
phone?
percentage.
I will say this though. I will throw out like, hey, I mean, being here in Southern California, there's a lot of Mexicans. There's a large, obviously a very large Mexican population. So I will throw out that, hey, yo, we're cousins. Let's trade. You trade me some tamales,
I've
and
heard about
I will
this.
trade you
Yeah.
some lumpia during
Yeah.
Christmas
Nice.
time. Like,
Yeah, that's
we're
awesome.
cousins. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just one of those things where whenever growing up, like AZ said, like they mistook him for being Mexican. I got along with the the Mexican kids, and it's a lot of the time it's because of the similarities in
Oh, yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
like you guys were talking about being called your full name, and that's how you knew you were in trouble.
Yeah.
Ooh. The Mexicans know that too, and they've got longer
Yeah.
names than we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they're like, "Oh hell no!" You know. So, oh, you got a beating last night? Oh yeah, I did too. You know what I'm saying? Like, they get it, and I think that's ultimately going and moving forward. Why we're doing the show, right? Why we're doing this, and probably even in the however long we've been talking, in that we didn't do the introduction yet. We
kinda
people
are,
who
but yeah.
we kind of
Yeah, a lot
are,
of interjections.
but there are the probably non-Filipinos that may or may not be watching this and are probably already be like, yeah, dude, we do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
freaking do that. You know what I mean, or whatnot. So, again, it just adds to the excitement of this show moving forward and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I know that's why I'm really excited to continue doing this. But yeah, just as I guess an introduction, I was really excited to get this crew together at Brick World. And we took pictures and whatnot, and
I missed
I know-
the prom pictures. I had no idea.
I did too. No, it's
Yeah.
okay.
I miss
It's
it
okay.
too.
Mateo. I miss him too. So,
was
But I
only-
saw it all over.
it was
like,
only Tito
who
Fred
is
and
this guy?
yeah,
I know,
we,
right?
we weren't cool enough yet. Now we're cool. We're cool.
Yeah, we cool.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really
Cool.
hope so.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and that was the thing too, right? We had a niche within the niche within the niche. It was like we were the Twitch,
The
Twitch
Twitch
peeps and-
crew.
the Twitch crew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
sure.
and what's cool is like I know for AZ and for myself, there have been multiple times where we're streaming, and I don't know what. Maybe we talked about what was for dinner or something, and then I'll say, yeah, I I over the weekend I went to a Filipino party and I had the most amazing pancit. And then out of the woodwork, out of nowhere, like there's a bunch of people that pop up in chat and be like, "Oh yeah, what kind of pancit, bro?" Or like, or yo, bro,
or I
had
love
like,
pancit.
or I love pancit. I had that for my Filipino neighbor like the one time or whatever.
Yeah.
It's always like out of nowhere, people will come out of lurk and be like, "Oh, I'm Filipino too." And so,
that's cool.
we've come to find that the Twitch community, there's a decent amount of people in the Twitch community, but B, Twitch brick builders who are also Filipino. And so obviously Amor and AZ, we always found a connection betwixt each other, and not only being brick builders within Twitch, but we would always pop into each other's chat and be like, "Hoy pare," or now we've been saying, "Hoy, what up, leche fam," or whatever.
Leche fam.
Yeah, or like, "Hey, hoy pare," or "Ano ba," or something like something silly. Or I don't even know if AZ, if your wife had her screen name before I said it, but I would refer to your wife like you were talking about your wife, and rather than use her name, I'd say I would just refer to her as AZ Binai, right? And then like, and I don't know if she made the Twitch handle after that or before that, but it was one of those things where it wasn't uncommon, I guess, too uncommon to find the Filipino culture within Twitch. So I always found that sharing culture on Twitch was never really a thing that I was afraid to do. So
it was very
being able
welcoming
to
environment.
It was. And I've even come to find, like, just like how we were explaining earlier, that a lot of cultures share similar kind of behaviors or types of ways that they practice their culture, or they have similar types of food. Like I'll explain the ingredients of one food and be like, "Oh, dude, that's like our yada yada yada, but ours is really spicy," or something like that. Which is really cool. I found that out through a viewer, A Skywalker, who's Indian, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we have a dish like that, but ours is hella spicy." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's really freaking cool." I would have never thought that, So, and then so finding other people that were not on Twitch that also like Lego, but are elsewhere, like YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, whichever it was, that was really exciting for me at Brick World. Obviously, it was fun to be there with AZ and mess around and take prom pictures with AZ and but
do you want
also
to talk about that really quick for people who have zero context what we're talking about?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. So at Brick World, this is a lot of.
That makes me so happy.
This is how a lot of pictures turned out. This is
yeah. There you go.
This is there's AZ Pinoy right there in the front. There's me. That's Amish Ace, another brick builder on Twitch, and then that's Zach M. Rutledge, also another brick builder on Twitch, and that is us at the Schaumburg Lego store. Taking the picture in public and not caring.
Guys, man,
it's so amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, those Lego guys. So I put in like a nice little frame. So
that's great.
But I saw that all over Instagram in like so many different variations.
I saw that on the stairs.
Down the stairs. That was fancy.
Yeah. Wait. I have a question about this. So was that a thing that started at Brick World, or this has been a long thing?
This has been a long standing thing across like some of us brick builder, the Twitch brick builders.
Okay.
Which Fred's the originator of.
Yeah. I think we were just really maybe overly comfortable with each other, but it started in Arizona. It was that trip where I went down to Arizona, and Zach was there too on a business trip, and we went out to eat at a kind of a local, or at a kind of like a mall eatery place just outside the stadium, the Cardinals stadium, where Zach was staying because of business. And in that area, in that kind of plaza, there was a photo spot in which it was like all pink and a bunch of flowers and kind of girly looking, but cute like Instagram spot for people to take pictures at.
Yeah.
And so we were like, "Oh, dude, let's." We were already taking pictures like us three because we wanted to have memories of when we were hanging out. But we saw that, and we were like, let's take a picture there. And so we had to wait for a couple to go and take their picture and whatever, right? So they took their
You
picture
were
awkwardly.
waiting to do this after a
That
couple.
makes it so much better. Yeah, that you had to
Right?
wait for another couple to.
It was funny was the couple was like the couple was like they had to have been like maybe on like a first or second date because they were like kind of like trying
It's
to
a little
figure out how
awkward.
it goes or whatever. Yeah. And so
They
But
didn't
not
have it
you,
down.
not
They
you
didn't
and
have it
Zach
down.
and
oh no, kind of sort of, right? After they dipped, me, Zach, and AZ go into the thing, and we're like, all right, well, it's already awkward that three grown men are taking a picture at this, spot with like a bunch of flowers. Let's just take it a whole nother level, right? Let's do a prom pose. And so
Yeah,
we
that's
took
so
that
funny.
picture, and it was AZ's wife that took the picture, and she was totally fine with it. She was totally like, go for it. And also, on top of that, there was a balcony or kind of like a patio area of a nearby restaurant where everybody in the patio can totally see every single person taking pictures at that spot. So they were totally watching three grown dudes just hold each other ever so gently at this photo spot.
Gently,
Yes.
gently,
Ever so gently.
Was there still
and
space for
taking
the
this
Holy
picture.
Spirit?
oh, there was no space.
No,
There's no
shot.
It
room.
was a prom pic.
Come
There's
on.
no
I
room.
don't know. I feel like
And
it's
so-
kind of.
Come on.
So we started cracking up. We take the picture. AZ's wife is dying because she just witnessed her husband freaking take a picture like that.
Hilarious.
with two other
Get
dudes.
prompt.
So funny.
And then I look over the patio. There's a couple people giggling because we just took it. And then the couple that was there previous goes up to us and is like, you guys look like you were more of a couple than we were. You guys were holding each other more intimately than we did. We have to go take our picture again.
Oh, that's
Because of what you
hilarious.
guys did. And
The
so
prom pic challenge.
that was basically what and from that point forward, I feel like I just did it with whoever I felt would probably be comfortable doing it with. I did with Private
Amazing.
DNA, he's another Pinoy Twitch streamer. I've done it again when AZ was here with his family at Disneyland, and we took that picture literally in front of his entire family, and his wife took the photo.
My question
Again,
is who's the big spoon and who's the little spoon?
You know what? It's one of those things where, like, in the moment, whatever is whatever is most comical for the situation, like it's just like I'm gonna get into that pose. Like I don't know, for whatever reason,
gonna man
it's
up.
funny when roles are reversed. You know what I mean? So
Just got all the
with
pictures. Oh my
I
gosh,
have
this is great.
some
Wow.
like there's like I printed a couple, but like when roles are reversed and you have like Nicole
Yeah, Nicole. Yeah,
holding me, I think it's a little bit
Is she
more.
standing on something? Is she standing?
No,
Is she
no.
legit that tall?
No, she's
She
tall.
might be.
yeah.
Oh, okay,
No,
I wasn't sure. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah,
Then
when
again, everybody
roles
Because that's
That's
how
what
you and
you're
I would have
mean,
to do
Amor.
it, Fred. I would have to stand on
when roles are reversed, it's just that much more funny, right? Like it's just
Oh, Julian, these are all my people. This is great.
I think Fred's always the little spoon. Fred's always the little spoon.
well, not always. I mean, like it's just like it just depends on like who's
Oh my
there. Like
gosh.
sometimes you'll go by height order.
Wait, wasn't
or-
there someone that stopped you in the lobby or something and was like, "That's
What?
the most amazing picture that I've ever seen," or
was
something
the
like that?
It was the
Or-
wedding group. It was the wedding group in that lobby.
Oh,
They were sneaking
Oh,
a
yeah.
picture. They were sneaking
We
a
were
picture
taking
from
this
the
picture.
escalators.
oh,
Was it
okay,
that one?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were taking this picture, and the wedding group was walking through this kind of area just below the
That's
stairs.
hilarious.
And they watched us take this picture, and they're like, "That is the most amazing picture we've seen." And then even the Schaumburg
Yeah.
Oh, the
Renaissance.
hotel.
the
Yeah,
hotel's Instagram account
that's right.
commented on
That's
this
right.
one, and they
That's what I
said
heard.
on Zach's, and they were like, "That is one of the best pictures we've ever seen taken on our premises, like or in the lobby." And yeah,
So now this
just,
is
amazing.
They just
This is just a thing now. Like it's
now it's just
every
a thing.
time.
I just liked to do it just with random with my homies.
I found
what I'm saying?
the,
But not
I found the
right.
original.
Oh, is this the OG?
Oh,
There it is.
wow.
Oh,
That's
amazing.
clever.
What does it say?
Whoa.
Wow.
That's
We don't know.
something, yeah.
I forgot what it said. It said something there, but
It
got
said
blurred out
forever
because
in love or something.
Forever and always.
Forever and always.
I feel
Yeah,
like
but
that
that
would be
was-
plastered up there.
Yeah,
Forever and always.
I totally would. I don't. I mean, I don't mind doing with literally anybody. I was like, whoever feels comfortable doing that, or whoever like would approach me like, hey, I've seen the prom pictures. We got to take one. I'm like,
That's
by
me.
all means.
That's me the next time that we see.
Yeah,
Oh, slopes. At
seriously.
slopes.
Slopes.
At
Brick
brick slopes. Yeah, brick
Slopes.
slopes.
It's
Brick
gonna
slopes.
happen.
Yeah.
It's
There you
gonna
go.
happen.
Are you guys all going?
AZ's not going.
Not
Me
me.
too.
I will be there.
Ate's not going. I'll be there.
Ate maan. I
You,
love
see,
that.
you were a little disappointed the way you said that though. You're like, not gonna make it.
Mm,
She can't get
Can't
time
get any
off
more time off unless I'm like, I'm so sick. I'm in Brixton.
next year.
someone has to be responsible, you know. It's not going to be me. So
For real.
how did we
But
get
yeah,
on the topic of the prom pictures
Prom.
now?
We took a journey. We took a
It's a
journey in
tangent.
terms
It
of
was a
like
journey from
because
me
well, we were talking about Brick World,
Oh,
right?
that's right.
And
Yeah,
pictures
That's
that
how
were
we
taken
how we
there.
kind of came about.
Oh, right.
Right.
Yeah.
So Fred, you're a Twitch streamer, of course, AFOL like the rest of us. Recognize that there's all these amazing, just Filipino people in the hobby. Wanted to bring some of us together. You're kind of the catalyst of this whole thing.
That's facts. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I know you and Rob have had some conversations.
No,
and
it was
then-
Fred. It was all Fred.
and then Fred pitched us all on this. But what I guess is one of the originators of this concept. What's your hopes and dreams for this podcast, this content?
Sure. I think it falls along the lines of what I've always wanted to do just as a content creator in general. And you and I have talked about this on Crossing the Streams, but for anybody that has not heard me talk about that, one of the values that I always wanted to, I guess, carry across in all the content that I put out there is just being unapologetically yourself, right? And encourage
Amen.
that
Absolutely.
out of everybody that I come across, whether you're Filipino or not, whether you're an AFOL or not, or whatever it is. I've always wanted to be unapologetically yourself, and be proud of all the differences and of course the similarities you have between all the people you come across. And so I've always done that on Twitch. I've always done that in the Nudo House, which is what we call our community on Twitch. And I thought that this was a really good opportunity to accomplish that on another platform, but B, another level in which I am unapologetically Filipino. I am proud to be Filipino. There's a lot of people, or most Filipinos are really proud to be Filipino. And it's not even like in a, you mess with us, and you mess with one of us, we're all gonna kill you, or something. Yeah. It's typically in more of a positive mindset, and I think that's one of the things that I am most proud of. Yeah, right. I think that's one of the things I'm most proud of when it comes to being Filipino. And like I mentioned it before, most of the time when other non-Filipinos have encountered a Filipino in their lifetime, it's typically a positive experience. Like they offered me all of this food, or we went on and on in a grocery store about, whatever it is, or whatever subject it was, or we barely knew each other and they invited me to their family party a week later, or whatever it is, right? Or we had a Filipino neighbor and they were next door and they were the nicest people and they would always bring us some lumpia or whatever extra cake that they made or whatever it was, right? And I hear it all the time. And so I'm always proud to share my culture, share my heritage. I say stuff online all the time. Like I early on taught the chat and whoever it is, I say it all the time in on Twitch, is mahal kita, right? Just spread positivity through telling people that you love them, right? And I love this community. And so I think the main thing was not to exclude people, but I think more so even to include people
Yeah.
within the Lego brick building community. That there are more similarities betwixt us and betwixt whoever's watching this than just Lego. There are multiple life experiences through culture and heritage that connects us more than we know. And so I think that was the most exciting part to me about moving forward with this project, and why I guess I'm proud to be, I guess, the catalyst of this particular show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here, here.
Nice.
that's awesome. Thank you for bringing us together, by the way. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
The amount of excitement that I get in my chest when Fred says the word betwixt
I
is
know.
like,
Oh my god! I didn't want to bring it up, but
I
thank
just,
you
like-
for bringing it up.
I can hear your Lolo saying
Betwixt. My Lola was all about big words, endeavor, and
benevolence.
Like all of his speeches to me.
It's
was
very
like with those
it's very Tito Fred when I think
yeah,
of
very
like that.
Tito.
I love
Yeah,
it.
there is a reason. There's a reason. Like, who was Nick? I think I was talking to you. I was like, I think for the show I'll go by Kuya Rob. I don't think I'm at Tito level yet. You know, I haven't been promoted yet to Tito level. So I'm good with Kuya.
Kuya.
And
When you
that's,
feel
that's
like
an
you're
honor,
ready,
so-
though.
Soon I'll be doing this.
Yeah.
All right.
I was
can't
doing
be
that
doing
the other
this.
day. I caught
That's
myself.
easy.
Oh
It's
my
just
god!
automatic.
I was
The
I was
Tito
leaning
stamp.
over
you
so
don't
my
even
kid
notice
could
it.
show me something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Show-
like-
show me,
Notice
show
it
me.
just flows.
I feel like
Yeah.
Tito Fred needs a sticker and the word betwixt, like right there,
Betwixt.
like a stamp or something like that. That's like your catchphrase.
Yeah.
It's all encompassing. You know, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it, Fred. Thank you for that, man. As we roll through these intros, I know we were gonna cover Nick and Atemaan, so let's talk about you two. Let's talk about like what you do and kind of your hopes for this podcast. Let's talk about where you're
Well,
at.
I think we have like two different perspectives because I'm more of like Amor's side, whitewash, coconut,
Yeah.
where Maria fluent in Tagalog, which is the
Right.
Filipino language, the popular Filipino language.
But I feel like I can walk through so many cultures just from the power of language, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
I can go to Seafood City one day and completely talk Opo, yes, you know, if I can order this in Tagalog fluently, or I can just come as like that. I'm born in Canada and I'm just going to speak. I just want this, right?
I just have
So-
I have the phrase. I learned the one Tagalog phrase.
It's terrible.
It's hindi ako marunong magsalita ng Tagalog. You know what that means, AC?
And I tell him never, ever, ever say that, please.
So
Which
he
really translates
basically
to
said,
Kuya
yeah.
Rob. It translates to I cannot speak Tagalog.
I learned that when I was
There you
6
go.
years old. When the first time I went to the Philippines, they taught me that.
And I'm like, why did they teach you that? You're totally kidnappable.
Yeah.
That's what they want. That's what
Let's
they
grab
want in the
that
Filipino
kid.
channel.
Yeah.
That's what they wanted.
You're better off staying silent than letting people know that you don't know how to speak Tagalog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wag kang magsalita.
Well, my mom would tell me not to speak whenever they go shopping in the Philippines because
Yep.
then they'd know we were
Oh.
from abroad, and then they'd raise the prices. So she'd always tell me
Mhm.
to dress down, just dress like wear like a plain shirt, and then don't speak.
And
And
so he
then
was
Green
crying.
Hills
He was
Shopping
crying.
Mall.
Yes, Green Hills.
Yeah,
baby.
Green Hills.
Green Hills Shopping Mall. The best deals on the planet.
Yeah. And you can haggle even further.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the power
true.
of the Filipino.
But yeah,
It's true.
we're hoping just to share our experiences
As AFOLs.
as AFOLs, as Filipino AFOLs, as our
Filipino-Canadian.
culture.
Yeah.
Listen to your stories as well, and then just share. That's what we're hoping to get out of this.
And I think as we're getting older, and we're all getting older, there's an appreciation really for the many layers still that we can grow into, right? Like I had mentioned before that I came here when I was 10, but I really left the Philippines when I was 4. So really, I could have lost the language easily just by being at different countries, speaking fluently in English already all that time. And yet, maybe I'm good with just keeping languages, but I do
But your
appreciate.
parents spoke to you. In
Yep,
Tagalog.
they spoke Tagalog, but Taglish. Even my grandparents were very Taglish. But I appreciate all the storytelling that I feel like I I collect through all my life experiences, but also through other people's life experiences.
Mhm.
I don't know. As a kid, I was an only child, and I always sat at the grown up table. Right, my mom will always take me. She'll like hang out with her friends, but I, even if I had little friends, sometimes that play date would end, and so I'm always part of my mom and her tita crew, and I would just love
Mm.
listening to people's stories growing up, and I feel like that also helped enrich my understanding of Filipino culture. Like how they chismis, how they gossip, and all the little stories
Mm.
that they would have of each other. Like I was just a little kid absorbing all these stories, and they're probably thinking, "Oh, she doesn't know anything," or
She doesn't
she
understand.
doesn't understand anything. But even his parents, for the longest time, didn't realize I was so fluent in Tagalog. And whenever they were like maybe arguing, I'll just hear them in the corner, and I'm like, "Oh, Nick, what's your parents saying?" Like I'm always that ear, but I've always grown up surrounded by storytellers. My lolas were always great storytellers,
Mm.
and there's always value to again the power of language, right? However we use it, and how we share our stories too. I think it's a defining catalyst again for anything that we learn. But I mean, our journey into Lego really started off as a family hobby. Our oldest son, we have three boys, got into Lego around grade two. But did he get into Lego or did I get
But that
into
was what,
Lego
2010?
a long time ago? 2010, 2011. So it's been a while for us to have accumulated all this. And I don't know about you guys, but we are from a family of hoarders, good hoarders. But like, I feel if there is like an addictive personality, Nick and I come from collective personalities.
But even like my
if that's
parents would
even a
hoard
phrase.
like
Yeah,
water
if
or
if
I
anything
don't
goes
know,
on sale and there's like a limit of 4, they will
shampoo.
go so many times and get as many of that. And I don't know,
Yeah.
Oh
everybody's
yeah.
nodding their heads
If you
that
go to
that
their
is a
the spare bathroom in their
yeah,
condo,
it's full.
it's full. The bath they don't use their bathtub. That's storage.
That's storage, like Gatorade, toilet paper towels, everything in between. And so we know if the apocalypse were to come, and it did with COVID,
Yeah,
we were safe. Like
they didn't have to go
we
shopping.
didn't have to
They're
go shopping.
fine.
Our parents had it all. We would not let them go leave their house, but if we needed to any supplies, our parents would have had it. Same with my parents too. It's like our families were
Corned
very
beef,
much
spam.
coordinated in that ideology of like, nope, why would you have one soy sauce bottle when you can have two extra soy sauce bottles? You never know when a friend might need it, or your daughter goes, "Hey mom, do you have soy sauce? Great, I'll just bring this home," right? But our families were very much like that sort of ideology of if it's on sale, get more than one, right? So, and
Yeah.
we're
Get more.
huge
Get more.
get more.
Get more.
We're huge Costco buyers. Like I don't understand people who don't have Costco memberships. Like, but I
Mm.
mean, to be fair, I do feed a lot of boys, right? Like I am the only girl trying to compete for her food in this house full of boys. But in terms of even Lego, how this had amassed over so many years, it took us over a decade to get to where this is, and it keeps growing. And Nick's had, three different boys kind of play with him over the years and
Yeah.
build with him.
Yeah.
And it became a very big family ritual for us to go seek out like the Lego store events, to go to Philly Brick Fest.
Before, yeah.
I went to Nathan Sayawa, who's a Lego artist, into a couple of his exhibits out in Philadelphia. Like we would literally drive out to just see like Lego, right? Our boys loved it, and we wanted to encourage that sort of like creativity, that building, that artistry that Lego has to offer on top of other toys that just like little wrestler figures. We have a lot of those too.
Yeah.
We just do this or gaming.
And then in 2014 is when we started the YouTube channel. Then we started sharing the Lego
Nice.
with
the
not
world.
just us, with the world. And then it just kind of grew from there.
Mhm.
Took a little break in
Nice.
2017 from
At a dark
YouTube.
age.
Came back into YouTube in 2021, but since 2021, we've been back into the social media.
And this is it, like people always think there's all the negative aspects of social media. But even before social media actually boomed, like Nick and I we love taking pictures. Like when we're dating, even before we're dating, like as a kid, I always had like a camera, and I always like to take pictures of, I don't know, events like field trips with your friends. So we would each, I didn't know until we were dating that we would each have our own albums of pictures. Like we were, again, maybe that whole collective idea-ness, right? Of just trying to take in a situation or an experience. But, while we're dating, and we started dating like in high school, we would have so many pictures, like albums and albums of pictures that's now in our garage, right? Like, and our kids are like, "Where's our pictures?" Yeah, everything's on our phone at this point in life.
Right.
Their pictures are videos on like our vlog channel.
Right.
So.
I'm curious.
And
You spoke about pictures. Do you have glamour shots?
No, we didn't. I've never done glamour shots.
Your
I
dad
know
did.
about glamour shots.
Easy.
Wait,
do you have
AZ's
one?
laughing.
Wait, what-
like,
AZ,
he
you
has a
have
lot.
one,
like
don't you?
AZ
AZ has one.
glamour
I
shots.
was
Let's
just
show
wondering.
it.
I was just
Easy
wondering
has
with
one.
with our age. Oh, I don't
Glamour
have
shots
it.
was a very big thing.
I thought you were ready. I thought you were ready.
I wasn't ready. It just came out. It
Tito Brett
just
has
came
his prom
about.
pictures and AZ has his glamour shots. I can't wait to see those.
I'm seeing a pattern. I'm seeing a pattern.
Those Lego guys.
Yeah, and all of the things that we share in common, right? It's not just Lego, but
Right.
Yeah.
because we kind of also grew up in the same culture, right? Like there's things that resonate with each of us. Like even if Nick says he doesn't really touch much upon the Filipino culture, when he hears a Filipino word or a joke, he cackles. Like watching
Watching Tito Fred.
but even
Yeah.
but watching
Tito Fred.
Joseph, what's
Tito
his name?
Fred.
Oh, Easter Sunday. We watched
Easter Sunday the movie,
yesterday.
but what's that
Oh.
comedian's name?
Oh,
my
yeah.
Joe
God.
Coy. Joe Coy.
Joe Coy.
Joe Coy, right? All
Joe
of his
Coy.
stand-up
Yeah.
comics, like it still resonates with you, no
Yeah.
matter how untouched you are by the Filipino culture or very much a part of it, right?
Mm,
But
mhm.
yeah, so
Mhm.
Joseph.
when our kids were born, we took a lot of videos of them, and we even had like a family vlog for a little bit there. But now our youngest loves watching them. You know what I mean? Like I've even forgotten how much we've taken of all of these, and here we hear him giggling when he was
Yeah.
like learning how to walk. Like it's right there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think it's for us one day. Like not what I'm kind of dark. I usually get a little bit
That's why
I
I
am
did
dark.
those.
I
So
am
when we're
dark.
old, we can watch them.
But this is it exactly. I love
Yeah.
looking back into like the stories that we've already had, and you've forgotten that. Oh my God, how did I say it like that? Or I can't believe we did that, right?
Look how skinny you were, or I was.
or that we used to run a
Uh-oh.
lot,
I
Rob.
was
We,
gonna
used to,
say.
we did all the Disney marathons.
Good
once
save.
upon a
Yeah,
time.
the Disney marathons.
You
Oh yeah, we
know?
have to talk about that. You
Yes.
you commented on one of my
I know, and that's why
posts.
I'm like, we need
So-
to collectively. This is a challenge
Disney
group,
marathon.
okay? And I'm talking
Yeah.
to all of
Yeah,
us,
we were
hollow,
big.
hollow people
We were
right
big
now.
marathon runners back in the day.
Big
clear
marathon
up.
runners, yes.
Like I've done 13 marathons.
He's done
Wow.
more than
The
five.
last,
Amazing.
The last one.
Wow.
The last one was in 2011. I think was the last time I did a marathon.
Yeah, my last
Okay.
race was when Trump
So
was
it's been a long
inaugurated.
time.
Wow. Yeah. So that is
Back in
cool.
my 30s.
Yeah,
It's a
so-
whole, like I was saying earlier, it's like a whole thing within the Lego community that Martin, who goes by Brick Snaps, he's the one who has like the huge incredible Disney builds, right? We're doing the
yes.
marathon in January.
Okay.
We didn't sign
Yeah.
up for it together or anything, but it was just like,
Yeah.
oh, are you running it? I'm running it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's
Oh, nice.
let's meet up, you know?
Earlier this
So-
year, we were thinking we should do another marathon and let's try to aim for 2024. We're not close to training level.
We're like pushing it to 25.
So maybe
and 26.
2025 now, and maybe
Yeah.
collectively as the Hollow Hollow crew. Imagine if we have this trip in
That-
January 2025. I don't know. Amor is like,
Mm.
It's like, what is it in? What is it in for me? I don't know. It's
They have
Disney.
5Ks.
There's a Disney. It's such
You
a
get-
great race. If I
You-
could do another
you-
race, it's a Disney race.
There's a really you get cool medals and a Disney
Cool medals.
ears thing that
Look at
says
Amar.
finisher on it, and
And every single
Um,
mile, there's a character, and we dressed up as like thing one and
That's
thing
true.
2. You know,
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah,
very
Disney-
very fun. I mean,
after
wake up
running
early in the morning.
my marathon last year, I was like, Disney has ruined marathoning for me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like other marathons are not going to be
Serious.
fun. You know,
Yeah.
I like what's the
Yes.
point? I might as well just do
Well,
it at Disney
there
World.
is
So.
another series called
The rock and roll.
the Rock and Roll series. Amazing.
I've heard of
series as
this.
well.
I've heard of this.
Every
And so
mile,
for a
there's
while
there's
there,
live
that
band.
was again, it was so difficult for Nick when he had a clinic to take time off, right? Like he gets no
Mhm.
vacation being his own boss.
Yeah.
And so we would try to get away like Friday to Sunday and aim to do marathons. Like those were our getaway trips. Sometimes we take a kid, or when the
That's
Lolas
cool.
and Lolos were happy to like keep our kids. Thank you so much, Lola and Lolo, right? We would just
Yeah.
go Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we would have done we did which ones?
We did a lot.
There was a number. There was quite a number, but it allowed
Like,
us to also travel.
if you do
all
like a
the
certain
US.
amount in one year, you get more specialty medals. So if you do two in one year, you get like well, if you do 4, you get a Grand Slam. If you do 3, you get a Triple Crown medal.
Mm,
2,
mhm.
you get something. I can't remember.
So if you're noticing about our personalities,
It's
more
horny.
is more
More
is
things.
more is more, right?
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
like
Sure.
Wherever we
Get
like,
more.
wherever
Get
we,
more.
like,
Get more.
target or focus our goals on. Like when we were like super into
It's
marathoning,
obsessive.
it was an obsessive kind of
Yeah.
mindset and very like driven. And so this is now where the drive's at, right? And I mean,
Yeah.
like Nick said, we even had like a kind of dead spell there in 2017. But then
It was Pokemon Go.
COVID,
It was obsessed with
yes,
Pokemon
and
Go.
he kind of still is. But then the COVID kind of probably allowed people to stay home, and
Yeah.
what was home but Lego, and
Yeah.
we still have boxes that we have to unbox, and we can never move out of our house. Like we're buying the house next door, so we can just sleep somewhere else.
No, when the kids move out, we can put Lego upstairs.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Get them out,
Lego
kick them
house.
out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
You know.
There you go.
It's your Lego ribs.
Like Rob touched upon earlier, like we're really all very multifaceted.
Queer Rob.
Queer Rob, each and every one of us, right? Our interests, what brought us together really was, wow, I've never seen so many more AFOLs than in Chicago Brick World.
Yeah.
Like, I was
Like
very,
Filipino.
I was very
AFOLs.
hyped by that, right? And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm very layas, if you guys know that term.
I don't.
Layas,
What is that?
it's restless.
Oh.
Someone who likes to
layas.
go to different places all the time. That's just my
Okay.
personal personality. If I go
Okay.
somewhere, I have an itinerary that I'm going to like fill my day from 6 a.m. until midnight.
She was dying on a vacation
man.
because there's nowhere to
So
go.
yes, so when we were in Chicago, I wanted to visit family. I wanted to like see the Art Institute. I had a ton of places to eat at, and I would always be like this. It's just my personality. So Nick's like, I'm gonna go there with Harold. I'm like, yep, I'll drive you guys, and I would literally drop them off. The kids are already fed because it's an all-you-can-eat at the Hyatt, and then we're out in downtown, driving through Chicago, driving through the suburbs, and I'm picking through all the Costco's, making sure that I'm getting all the bottles of wine because Costco has bottles of wine in Chicago, not here.
I know. What is that?
And so,
Wow.
to me, it's like
They
I
have it at
really-
Walmart.
They
too.
have it at Walmart, but that was like Florida too. But that's just my personal. Like I just everywhere I go, I just want to learn as much as I can, whenever possible, right? And then I'll come
Yeah.
back and pick up Nick and Harold for dinner, and we would literally have deep dish pizza, like one place every night,
Yum,
tagged
yum.
out.
Oh
until,
wow.
But that's why I didn't get a chance to meet you all, and I feel so bad. I met Kuya Rob
Yeah.
with Stud City,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like, that was
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
It was
Chris
after
is the one
medieval
that.
times.
That's
that
right, and the cool
he-
Pharrell hat, and I'm like, okay, let's
yeah.
meet
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not wearing your hat. How come you're not wearing your hat?
I know.
today?
Well, I can't wear the hat and the headphones. It's like I gotta
You just gotta,
decide.
integrate
which one-
that.
Yeah, maybe like I don't know, make special. I don't know, make a special hat. There's several
saw the
people
Mickey
that
hat
tagged
the
me
other day.
in the Mickey ears like fedora hat.
Safari hat.
People
Yes.
people were tagging me and like, Rob, this is you, man. This
You
is
need
it's all
it.
you.
Yes.
You need it.
Yes.
You need it. But
But I
yeah.
feel like with AZ Pinoy, I was going up the elevator,
Yeah.
the escalator, sorry, and Nick was just calling to him, hey, this is my wife. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Hey.
but I didn't get a chance to just slow down and meet people.
and chat. Yeah. It is what it is. I feel like that's how Chicago went for most people. It was very
Yeah.
like, I don't know, busy, I guess.
It's
feel like-
funny. Like I couldn't imagine what the public days were like because the private fall days felt already so full. That's days felt insanely full. That and I mean we had gone to Philly Brick Fest multiple years in a row before, but Chicago Brick World was like next level, I thought. But even somebody like
Yeah.
Jean, like from Jean Version, like I kept on going to her area and I'm like, oh my God, I found you, but you're not here. And then she'll ask Nick, where is Maria? Because then I'd be gone. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm sorry I missed you again today. And then I'll go the following day again and I'll go back to her like, mocks and I'm like, you're not here again. And I'll take a photo of
Did you
it.
meet her? Did you end up meeting her?
No, not at all. We are
Oh.
strangers.
Wow.
It breaks my heart. I feel so bad.
Wow.
I just met Nicole, really.
Like we
That
had
was-
her on the show. We had her on the show, so we met her
Yeah.
that way. But Maria
Yeah.
didn't
And
get
there's
the
a
chance to
lot of
meet her in person.
similarities again between her and me in terms of aesthetics of like house stuff, right? Okay, I love this. I love this. I love this.
Yeah.
We never got a chance to meet, but like
Oh my
even,
gosh.
for example, like the 5K, I didn't know about the 5K. I feel like I would have
Mhm.
signed up, all of us for this.
It was
for the
fun.
5K if we had known.
Yeah, that was
It
Saturday.
was a fun time.
Yeah.
Saturday morning. So now I know to send you information about the 5K.
Yes.
So I definitely will do that next
Who
year.
was in
when-
charge? Were you
when
the
happens.
organizer of that?
Oh no, definitely not. Definitely not.
Oh.
I never organized anything.
And
I
then
just,
there was
What?
goat yoga.
I just people think that I am organized, and I don't know. But Brick Snaps is the one that told me about it, and then there was someone
okay.
else that initially found it.
Okay.
Someone from Illinois, and I feel like Illinois is like in her username. I'm forgetting it now. It's eluding me,
Oh.
but
I think I know
Um,
who you're talking about. There's like
yeah.
an Illinois something.
yeah, something like that. something
Illinois
like that.
girl, Illinois girl.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
But like with marathons, you know, I've found that the more I talk about it, or if I post about like running at Disney, there are people that will again just like come out of the woodworks and like Danny Bob. She was like, "Oh, I did Disney marathons," and I was like, "Oh, let's do one." And she was like, "No, I did the half marathon, and like that was enough." And I was like, "All right, fine, it's fine."
But if there is a marathon to do, I think Disney really does it very well.
Well, they have the
They do-
dopey now.
They do
have
it the
the-
best.
Yes.
That's what
Have
I
you done
do.
the
Is I do the
dopey? You did the dopey.
I do the
yeah?
dopey. I do the
So
dopies.
what the dopey
Yeah.
is, you know, because I
For
know
Fred
Tito
and
Fred
Amor.
and more will run
Yeah.
with us in 2025. I feel it.
So
Yeah.
on Thursday they do the 5K. On Friday they do the 10K.
Yeah.
Saturday they do the half
Half
marathon, and then Sunday they do the full marathon.
Yes.
Tito Brett has a sign. There's
And then we'll go
there's
on
hello
We'll be
hello at
cheering-
the finish
We'll
line.
be cheering you on.
I will say the signs. That's like a whole thing in and of itself. It's like who has the best sign, and there are
Yes.
some hilarious signs. One like it would be like smile if you peed yourself a little, or like
Tito Fred's
Toenails
"Why
are
would you pee yourself when you're
overrated."
running?" Sometimes you cannot find where you're gonna pee, and sometimes things just go.
just happens.
It's like
I don't know.
sweat.
No,
Never
just
happened to
kidding.
me yet, though.
Really
I've
selling
never-
it.
I've never,
Really
yeah,
selling
it's
it.
never happened to me.
We're not.
We're good.
selling
Me and Amor,
So convinced.
we'll just be at the sidelines and
Yes.
cheer you
How
guys
about
on.
how about you, Tito Fred? What's your Lego story?
Yeah, how did you get into Lego?
Lego, for as long as I can remember, I had like Duplo, or I had like Lego bricks, just like a loose set of bricks. I would get like a small set here and there, but mine was basically where my parents were very, very. We were never really reluctant to buy me a Lego set as opposed to like an action figure. So we would be at Target, or we would be at whatever store, and I would go running to the toy aisle, and I would pick out a Captain Planet or a Ninja Turtle, right, and be like, "Can I get this?" And be like, they'd be like, "Probably not." And then like, "Oh, I know what they'll probably get me," and I'll go put that back and then get a Lego set, right? Like, "Can I get this though?"
Yeah.
Right? And then it'd be like, yeah, go ahead. That's fine. And so exactly like you said, it was an educational toy, and so I was more likely to get a Lego set than I would an action figure. And as my dad, he's an engineer, was like, maybe if we bought him enough Lego and he got into the hobby enough, he would become an engineer. But also, my mom, it was a huge collector as well. She did Precious Moments. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those.
Yo,
She collected.
I got it.
Wait, what is that? What is
I
that?
got it.
Swarovski crystal.
Amor's eyes lit
There's
up.
these little collectible. My sister got super into them. She had a
Yeah.
precious moment phase.
Wait,
It was
I
They're
gotta
these
look
little
this up.
porcelain
porcelain
Yes.
dolls,
Yeah.
Big eyes.
and they're very stylized. Yeah,
Yes.
big
Commemorates
eyes.
very special occasions, even ages, weddings, engagements,
Hallmark, right?
graduations.
Yeah.
Okay. I've
Yeah.
seen these before.
Precious moments.
Yeah.
I don't see
So
them
sh-
too many places anymore, but Hallmark still carries them, I believe.
They
Hallmark
do,
is still
yeah.
very
Yeah.
So your mom was into these.
Wow,
So my mom was
interesting.
into the collecting. My
Yes.
dad was about it because of the engineering. The my mom too.
Yeah.
Like she was all about like the educational toy
Yeah.
type thing. But
Yeah.
as far as the collecting side of it, that was definitely my mom. And so I had always grown up with Lego. I did experience like a dark age. Like I think it was towards the end of middle school where I went and was at like a little party or get together with friends or whatever, and I came home to a family party and my little cousins were in my room and they had trashed my entire collection, and that's what
Oh,
started my
no.
dark age. That's what started my dark age. I was like, I don't even want to put this crap together. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't like it's too like it was so much
Too many
to
years
even
of-
think
Did you have a
about.
display? You had a display and everything?
I got like a desk full of like my castle, a couple of like little mocks that I put next to the castle, like a
Man,
things
that's
like that.
unfortunate, dude.
I had like
Not
some space, a
Not
space area.
Yeah.
I had
Oh,
the old
wow.
adventure sets or whatever too. Like Johnny Thunder, like I had those. Like I had a whole area of that.
Wow.
And I was just so devastated and just so like
Oh, that's so sad to
pissed
hear.
that
Yeah, for
that
sure.
that put me into my dark ages until later on as an adult. I had a full-time job, and I'd occasionally see some really cool minifigures of like movies that I loved back in the day, or current movies or whatever. And then I would kind of pick up small sets based off of whatever cool minifigure was in there. So mainly it was Star Wars.
Mm.
Yeah,
That was it. But what really got me full onto collecting Lego more and more was definitely doing the content. I started streaming August of 2020. So I'll be my stream anniversaries in a couple of weeks.
Oh,
Nice.
stream anniversary.
Yeah, so
That's cool.
and
It's
then
a whole thing on Twitch. It's a
it
whole
is.
thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We celebrate
And
that.
so I started just gaming on there, but occasionally would pick up a Lego set here or there. It was in the middle of lockdown, so of course the Lego sets were hard to come by, but also was a really fun thing to do when you were literally doing nothing. So I would stream those, the building, the experiences. And then there was a smaller, Twitch community of brick builders that were like, yo, we're all here to support you. Like, you are building Lego on Twitch. Like, we don't come across that very often. And you're a new person. Like, we've never seen anybody new, build Lego on Twitch. So we're all here. I was like, listen, I don't do this all the time. Like, it's fine. No big deal. And so I was like, all right, cool. Well, welcome on in. But then I started doing Lego on Twitch just all the time after I had just had so many really great experiences with the existing community in January of 2021, and I just ran with it. And so from that point forward, obviously with my affinity for Star Wars and the cosplay that I do, I'm a TIE pilot in the 501st Legion, which is the largest Star Wars costume club in the world.
Oh, wow.
Which they feature only screen accurate costumes. So you can only get in if you have a screen accurate costume. So I have a screen accurate TIE pilot cosplay that I have. And so, with my affinity with the cosplay community, the Star Wars community, I was building a lot of Star Wars Lego, but then it just, went into even further than that. And that's led to, really fun opportunities like becoming an RLFM, Recognized Lego Fan Media,
Nice.
being part of the Lego Ambassador Network, of course, being a staple, I guess, a staple, I guess, of the Lego brick building community on Twitch, just mainly because of the fact that I am really consistent. I consistently stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday evening, and so luckily I've been able to be consistent in that, and even do little fun things. Like last night I threw the first pitch at a minor
that's
league
cool.
game.
Oh yeah. I was gonna
saw
ask
that.
you.
Yeah.
Would you consider that throwing a pitch, or is that? No, I'm joking.
It was
Oh, Nick
Wow.
throwing shade.
so shade.
Dang.
Wow.
It was the best I could do.
joking.
Okay, if it was a football, it would
Okay.
have definitely been more accurate than a baseball.
It
I want to be able to do
was
that.
too late. The ball was too light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm too buff for that ball. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like I
Keep the
need
bread
something a
too
little
strong.
more. That's
Too
right.
strong.
So,
Yeah.
but even fun things like that, fun opportunities like that through Lego, and so
that's cool.
it's just been like a big snowball effect of now I've got way too much Lego to I don't even know what to do with. So
Just send it to me.
You really have problems.
No,
I will
personal
take it.
problems.
Oh my
But
gosh, so
that's-
much Lego. It
That's kind
sucks.
of like yeah, I don't know.
I hate it. It's the
All right.
worst.
I hate
But that's- it's been like it's been like a really cool journey of just Lego, but it's definitely been since the very beginning, and that's kind of I guess the gist of my Lego journey. And for
Nice.
whatever
Nice.
reason, that's where I am now, and
Yeah.
it's continuing to grow, but mainly in the networking with people like on mainly
Yeah.
on YouTube and whatever, and so that was the biggest kind of thing.
I want to rewind quickly to your story when your parents, I can't remember the word you used, how they allowed you to buy Lego over like an action figure. There was a
Yeah.
word. I can't remember the word. I wanted to, but I think in terms of Lego collecting, right? Technically, this is an extravagance, and so I
Yeah.
feel like for a lot of Filipino culture value, this would be sayang. Sayang means a
waste?
waste, right? And
Mm.
so again, coming from
Collecting dust.
my dad too was an engineer, as is his, but like they came to the country to create a better opportunity, of course, for their kids and whatnot. But I feel like in their maybe vision, maybe they didn't think, work hard so you can buy toys. What am I trying to say here, right?
But
Yeah.
they would buy their own thing though.
they would buy their own thing. They had their
Which-
own collection. So like yourself, like your mom was a collector. My dad too was a collector. So I
Pens.
grew up in a collecting kind of environment as well. But I think for most other Filipinos, I feel that collecting things isn't a thing. I don't know. I don't know.
My
if
dad my
that's-
dad would collect CDs and movies.
Yes.
So first VHS, and then it became DVDs.
Right.
Like
Like
it was first like
not many of our
tapes and
friends
then
know
records.
that we have
Mm.
a basement full of Lego, for example.
Mm.
Right. Like
But I think people would spend their money on,
on
other
whatever
things.
interest they have.
So some people
I
travel a
guess.
lot. Some people spend their money on cars.
Real estate, gold.
I think
Mm.
there's
Real
I think there's two sides to that coin. Obviously, when it comes to a sayang, right, a waste,
Mhm, mhm.
the educational toy was favored than the action
Oh,
figure,
absolutely.
so that
absolutely.
it wasn't sayang, right?
As
Because
sayang, yes.
yeah, it wasn't. I would at least get something out of it. I'd be able
Yes,
to
yes.
use my mind creatively, more creatively building with bricks.
Lego.
But I
yeah.
think
Mm.
too, what I've come to find with Filipino culture, and especially the like my parents and my aunts and uncles, there was a sense of showing off or pride in having luxury items, whether it was
Mm.
the latest who has the
Car.
latest luxury
Mhm.
car, who
Mhm.
has the
Mhm.
biggest stereo system or
Mhm.
surround
Who has the
sound
Gucci
system or
purse.
home
I guess,
theater,
yes.
who has
The
the Gucci
laser
purse, who
laser
has
disc.
the latest, who
The
has
Louis,
who
Louis
has the
Vuitton.
who
The
has the
crazy-
yeah, the latest Louis Vuitton or
Louis
their
Vuitton.
or the shoes, right? There was a sense of showing off betwixt the aunts and uncles of who has the
Betwixt.
coolest stuff. Like who has the cooler, thing, most latest and greatest thing. And I think it then transcended even to the kids where it's like, hey, we're able to afford luxury stuff for even our kids. Like they have the latest
Yes.
Nintendo, or they have
Mm.
they're able to afford Lego, which is even
Mhm.
now a luxury
It's
item.
still
Like
a
they're marketing
more
it as a
expensive
luxury,
toy. Yeah.
right? And so I think there was like two sides to that. There was a point. There was a point of like them being cheap, yeah, but really, I think there was a sense of pride that they were able to afford
Afford
that.
it.
Like
That's true.
they
Yeah,
worked
that's
hard enough
interesting.
to
That's
they
right.
worked hard enough to afford that, and maybe it means that they were working 50 hours a week, 60 hours
Mhm.
a week, like they were working overtime just to afford that stuff. But there
Mhm.
was that sense
Yeah.
of pride at the Filipino party that weekend that, hey, we just bought a new car, or my
Yeah.
kid's walking around with a Game Boy, or or whatever it
Yeah.
is, or I have a new Louis Vuitton purse, or
The
whatever it is.
purse. The purse.
So I always, at least that's what I came to find, and that's what I
Yeah,
came
yeah.
to kind of see within
I've
the
seen that.
culture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I can appreciate that for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's also kind of like it can be a toxic thing too, in that there is a lot of hoarding behind that, but there's also a mental thing too, where it's like
Yeah.
you see people trying to compete, and that tears families apart. It tears it tore me and my cousins apart, where because our parents kind of showed us off to the aunts and uncles, like we resented each other sometimes, like
Mm.
where it's just like
Yeah.
whatever it is, or even resentment between siblings,
Yes.
Mm.
Oh man, yeah, that's the thing.
and I don't, and I'm sure, yeah, right, and I'm sure not just Filipinos will feel that, but I'm almost certain other cultures will feel that
Yeah.
that as well, right?
Yeah, that's not just a Filipino thing. That's like a human being thing for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So in regards to that, like like I would definitely say culture feeds into that, because my parents being immigrants, and they worked really really hard to
Provide and even
provide,
beyond. Yeah,
but even provide, beyond
beyond
provide,
provide.
and
Exactly,
have
exactly,
those physical
exactly.
items that will show, hey, this is how hard, I
Yes,
worked.
yes,
You know,
yes, for
Hmm.
sure.
I feel like Lego was in a way or sense part of that, and even the
Yeah,
collecting, right? Like having these things on display is like, hey, like we worked hard,
we
for
work
these,
hard. Correct.
or it took forever for me to build this, or whatever it is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and display these things in the
Yeah.
background. So it's definitely all in all like a sense of pride, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
We're really
Yeah.
for
proud
sure.
people, and we show it in a lot of ways, both toxic and non-toxic, I guess,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
it's true.
But this is it for me. Like it's so nice to sit in a room, I'll call this that, where we collectively have the same shared interests. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yes, I do have friends who realize that we do collect Lego, but not to the scope. Like, not many people have been to our basement, for example, and it's not,
Mhm.
not just this part of the room, for example. It goes to the laundry area, for example. But it's
Yeah.
nice to know that I'm sitting with people who are like-minded, who's like, yes, I understand that need to buy this set or this
Yeah.
set, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and again, like even as a mom, right? Like I preferred my kids playing Lego when they were little versus the video games. I mean, don't get me wrong, we do have the video games too, but it's like I get excited again when our youngest comes down to the basement just to play with the new Minecraft sets. Right. So Nick would have gotten them,
That's
and
cool.
Nick probably wouldn't have gotten them until they were on this discount. But like Hayden, that's his name, he started playing with them. And I'm like, oh good. It removed him from his iPadding. Like enough money to Mr. Beast already, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and play with the toys that we have here. And yet a little bit of the offshoot is because we have so many of these toys, they're almost like, oh, we're over it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that kind of
Mm.
kills it a
The
little
first
for
two are
me.
over it.
Yeah, the
Wow.
first two, exactly, because we just have so much of it.
Yeah.
Like
If you look at
the
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 early
WoW factor is
channel
gone.
in
Yeah,
2014, 2015, 2016, the first two are all in all the videos,
always so excited.
and they're all into it. But now
And I mean, it
they're
could be their age. Tito Fred has his dark age
yeah,
and
they're in the
around
dark
middle
age.
Yeah.
middle grade and stuff, right? It's that
Mhm.
where they are with their
The
friends
oldest
in
is
their life
18, and then the other one is turning 14 in what
in a
weeks?
couple of weeks. Yeah,
Couple
yeah,
weeks, so.
right. So I mean, they still appreciate that we have this Lego, but they're not anymore here building. And if anything, like our first guy, he was so good at building mocks. Like
Yeah.
it was just fluid for him. He would make
Hmm.
weapons. I know maybe there's a psych analysis that needs to be
But
done
he would
there.
make figures,
But he would make
like Marvel
figures too.
figures.
Better
Then,
Lego
like
Lego
wood,
weapons than anything,
better.
So
Yeah,
Oh, he makes wooden.
yeah.
He makes
So
wooden weapons now.
now he's in
at school.
an industrial design degree. Like he's in school right now, and of course all the things that he makes are back to weaponry. We're like,
Mhm.
we should
Katana
Wow.
and
he goes a lot of his
samurai
a lot of
sword.
his TAs, they want to like buy it from him so for their cosplay, like make us all these different swords like katana. Like he does, he
Wow.
makes amazing.
They're
Like
nice.
he made me a scythe for Mother's Day, knowing that I
like
love
the
it.
Grim Reaper.
That was my
Oh,
Mother's Day.
It's huge.
amazing.
I'll bring it down. Yeah,
It's
it's huge. It's like as tall as me, and it flings down. It's like Happy Mother's Day. I'm like, I love it.
Wow.
Riddle me this though. Then, you mentioned the term "sayang," a waste, right?
Yes,
And maybe
yes.
parents seeing or Filipino culture seeing Lego as a waste, sayang, right?
Mhm.
Would that be maybe this or does or does not correlate to this? But why is it that you don't let people know how much Lego there really is in that basement?
I guess I don't know. Part of it is it hasn't come out in conversation. Like my Instagram,
Yeah.
enough of my friends know that I'm just a brick zapper, and even then, you know what I mean. Like I feel like Facebook really would have been the forum to still connect with my older generation friends.
Not a lot of
Mhm.
people have been over to our house since
Maybe COVID too, like and
Even bef-
everything, and even yeah.
when we first
We
got
were
married.
just-
We used to have people over.
Yes.
But
And
then afterwards, people.
we were just so busy. Like Nick started a clinic before when we were younger, like or we were always in school too. And among our friends, we probably were the first to have a kid in general, right? So I mean, that's
Mm.
sort of like life took us away from just the dynamics of hey, let's
Yeah.
get together for drinks. In my head, I'm like, well, I
Yeah.
gotta like put him down, and then I gotta go to work tomorrow. So it was like
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. And so
Feel
by the
that.
time our friends were getting married and having their own first kids, we were like at our second or even third kid by then. right? So now I
Mhm.
feel like we're kind of easing up in like, oh, we now have more time to like hang out, and now all of our friends are in that like level where no, our kid still has to
They're
do
busy.
this, and this, right? They're
Yeah.
busy. Like
Mm.
our oldest one can drive himself to
Right.
work now. It's like a game changer, right? All of a sudden, it's like, yeah, take one of our cars. Like, we'll see you later, right? Like,
But then when
Mm.
we do have someone over, like your friend
Yeah.
Susan, they'll
Like,
be like,
we'll
"Oh,
come
do you want to
down.
see the Lego room?"
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
she
yeah.
comes down.
Okay.
and
She
gets
sees
mind
it.
blown a little bit, you know. But who's coming over? You said in a couple of
Oh,
weeks.
if you know, and Brick and Brood. Have you ever heard of Brick and Brood?
Yes.
So
heard of
Yeah.
it.
he's a YouTuber. He's gonna swing by next week.
Does he post? Does he post like the schedule every week of
Yes.
things that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
That's
I know
him.
him. I know him. I actually
So
we
there-
need to message
there's a
him
Lego-
about our show.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
anyways,
when we know
anyways.
when we find out when we're gonna post this. But there's a Lego convention in Toronto, or in our area
Yeah.
next weekend. Bricks in the Six. So I think he's coming
Heard
down.
of that.
He's staying at his sister's place around here, and then he said he wanted to swing by and check out the Lego
Nice.
room, maybe take some footage for his channel, and
And
do
in my
like
head, I'm
some
like, oh my god, I
series.
have to clean the house.
So
Mhm.
he'll be the first Lego YouTuber to
Mhm.
come by.
Oh, to
Ooh,
see the
Yeah.
room. That's big.
And so
That's huge.
he'll
It's a
have
big
more
deal.
of
Yeah.
he'll have more of an appreciation than say Maria's friend who would come down and see stuff.
Yeah, and this is it, like, because until you have the love for the Lego, right? Do you really appreciate? Wow, this is it.
Like if
right?
I were to go
Yeah.
to any of your rooms, I'd be like so like into it and
Yes.
looking at every
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
little thing.
But for any,
Someone
I
that's-
think even Jean
Someone that's
posted
not
something-
like a Lego person. It's like
Yeah.
it's just overwhelming. It's impressive,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like
Yeah.
I feel like people don't
Why
know
is-
where to look, so they're
That's
just
right.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't see everything.
Right.
it's almost
That's
like a blur.
Yeah.
They're just
One
like,
of our-
oh wow, there's so much stuff. Okay, great, get me
One
out of
of our
here.
One of our oldest son's friends came by, I think, and he wanted to put apart one of the Lego sets.
Yeah, he wanted
Like-
to take stuff apart because he wanted to see how it's
And
built.
we've never heard that. I know. Look at
Wow.
all your faces. What?
Oh,
the-
that's
It
so
was the
Atari.
interesting.
Atari.
It was
He's
the
like,
Atari
I want to
set.
pull this apart, and Nick was like,
Um,
no.
No, my parents will kill you. Get
Yeah.
out of the house.
So maybe that's why, again, in terms
they
of
they grabbed Optimus Prime like, oh, I want to transform this into a truck. I'm like, it's kind of delicate. It might fall apart when you're doing it. No, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We're industrial design students.
Mm.
They were doing it.
Maybe there is that hesitancy about that, right? But yeah, no, I don't think it's science, because I think people will put their money where their interests are, or they should put their money.
I think when she meant Cy Young, it was more like
the
our
perspective.
parents now looking
Our
at
parents.
us as adults.
Yes,
As
yes.
adults,
Right.
Because we're not getting it for educational purposes, because we're
Mm.
already
Right.
For us.
adults.
Right.
So our parents looking at it and saying, "Oh, Cy Young, you
Yes.
could have bought another something that they're into."
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, another Louis
That's what
Vuitton
everything-
purse.
Yeah.
I know, which is Cy Young
So-
to me.
Like
Like,
the
what?
Tesla
It's Cy
now.
Young.
So what do your parents say about the current situation?
They just
It's
know
more
about
of
it.
it's more of a blur. So they'll look down and be like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's cool."
like that.
And so they don't know how much everything costs. They'll just see like a whole bunch
Right.
of things.
And for now, because I guess we have the three
Yeah,
boys,
that's
it's
the
like
other
make-
thing is the
I think
cost.
still-
The
yeah,
cost.
I think it
Yeah.
still makes sense to them that we have all these toys because we have our kids, right? Like I think we're equating that.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, they're playing with Nick.
Not so much anymore. It's me
Like-
playing by myself, not
Yeah.
with myself. Playing
Yeah.
by myself.
I was gonna say use the correct
Yeah.
pronouns there.
Correct pronoun. This is not after dark.
Yes, that's right. Not yet. Good job.
This is
I won't-
slowly
I'm
but
not
surely
even
turning
gonna
into
touch
the
it.
into the
That's
261
fine.
set.
We'll leave that one alone. We'll leave it alone.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's why Full of Brick came about. Okay.
But yeah, so when she said Cy Young, I think that's what.
Yeah, the perspective of like
That's what she meant.
our parents' generation, I guess, right? With
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
their potential
Right.
hopes and dreams are for us, I
Yeah.
guess.
Of course.
Not as like
Of course.
not for educational
Right.
purposes.
Because I think like most of our friends too, they will have their own whatever they want to waste their money on, right? Like their
Sure.
own spiel of things, right?
Sure.
Disposable income.
Right.
Right.
But that said,
Dang.
I grew up in a household where do well in school so you can get that great job one day and you can buy whatever you want. So I'll put that in the whatever you want category.
But having said that,
That's the top of the list.
we're nearing the 2 hour mark. I don't know if we want to sort of start to wrap things up. What do you guys
Yeah.
think?
Did we have any other? You didn't have any other questions, right?
I think we covered a lot.
We did.
covered a lot.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
even learned some words I didn't know. My God, my brain is
Yeah.
still. My
You
brain
still
is still
remember?
like,
Do you
Mum,
remember the
sir.
Putong?
Mum
Mum,
sir, mum sir.
Putong is something that's like something that comes out of the body or something. But we'll leave that for next episode too.
That's so good.
That's
Okay,
So-
leave it to there.
Yeah, well, with that then, yeah, thank you for joining me, you guys, and I look forward to more episodes. We'll continue with our loose format, but also continue to introduce more of our cast and our crew, so you guys can get to know us more, and of course, get to know kind of like our backgrounds and again the very varying levels of culture, the Filipino culture, in each of our life experiences. So I'm really excited to really dive into that. But also, again, I'm really excited to hear from you guys, the audience, and if you guys have some, I guess, words or phrases or things that you guys are curious about within our culture. We can't wait to hear or see your guys' feedback, whether
In the chats.
in the
Or
chats,
in
the
the
comments.
comment section.
Yeah, in the comment section there. Let us know what you guys want to see, what you guys are expecting from the show, and maybe even some suggestions of other people we might not know of who are Filipino that are in the AFOL community that you guys know that you'd love to see on the show. So, yeah. Here we go. Thank you for
Roll-
having us.
Roll that music.
Oh, what is this?
It's our finishing music.
Oh, wow.
So signing off from Nick and
Maria. Maan. Ate Maan.
Tito Fred, More Amor, AZ Panoy, and Kuya Rob.